Hello, my name is Remko Bloomhard. I actually got my start in the construction space as an insurance adjuster. I've got over 14,000 claims under my belt. I decided to reach out to a contractor and asked if we could write their estimates. And they came to me and said, no, we need somebody to supplement. Do you supplement? I lied. I said, yes. And then we started building a supplement company. And that's what I'm eager to share with you today, some of the ins and outs of working with the insurance companies, adjusters, and also possibly some supplementing. In this video, we're going to start with the market forces that are currently in play now, some of the changes, the policies that you're all aware of. And we're going to take you all the way through my photo checklist, why I do it that way, the detail, the documentation. That photo checklist will help you better serve the homeowner and also allow you to win more jobs as well. And if you'd like to download on the photo document checklist, you could click on the link. You don't even have to watch a video.
So what I want to look at first is the case for insurance work. Now, how I want to break this down, and I think you have a lot of experience here that could speak to why someone would want to do insurance in general. But let's start with number one being the macro conditions that exist, right, in the market. I think then number two, roofing company specifics, okay, because I know that you have a ton of experience here. And then I want to talk about the arguments monetarily. But for insurance, the cause for, first and foremost, what's going on in the market, what's going on in the US that's producing an opportunity for people to actually rock and roll on insurance?
If we look at the claims that were filed, like in 2024, there was 5.3 million insurance claims filed. Okay. What we do see is that the insurance companies have changed the game a little bit. They've introduced the RPS repayment schedules. They've done higher deductibles, more ACV type policies.
Please define ACV for anyone that has no idea what that is.
I apologize. So ACV is going to be actual cash value versus RCV. So it's recoverable. That's the depreciation. The other thing that we're seeing is that once a roof hits a certain age, it's automatically RCV or ACV as well. So those are some of the conditions and what we start to see the insurance, the shift in the insurance landscape, if you will.
And we'll come back to number two and three in just a second. But if we were to look at, I want to look at just those macros. I kind of want to break that out a little bit more, right? When we're talking about macros. So you said that we had previous, what type of insurance policies?
So we have ACV and RCV.
So we have ACV and we have RCV. Which comes first? Which are the majority that exist out there, and why the shifts?
So the majority previously were RCV.
Previous to 2025?
Correct.
So pre-2025, right? We were RCV.
Correct. And if you don't mind, I'll kind of break down what that is, even more
absolutely.
granular. So what happens is, let's just use this for example. We have a $20,000 roof. Let's say there's
20K. 20 big ones. All right.
Exactly. Let's go with a 40% depreciation, which is $8,000.
That is $8K.
And let's say there's a $2,000 deductible.
What is depreciation? What is deductible?
So the depreciation is based on two different things. It most of the time is based on the age of the roof, and sometimes it's also based upon a roof payment schedule. This has been predetermined by the insurance company in certain percentages by the year or by the age of the roof.
So depreciation, right, is age of roof.
Or percent.
Or percent of.
So that's the roof payment schedule. So the insurance company has already come up with a certain percent depreciation on X amount of years, depending, and they also break it down for different payment schedules. If it's laminate, if it's 3-tab, if it's metal. So each one of those are also different percentages. Type of materials also affect that percentage.
And so this percentage, it's a combination of the two, or if it's one or the other?
It is a combination of the two. So as an adjuster, when I look at it, you look at the column and you look at the 3-tab, and then you look at, for example, laminate. So if it's 7 years old, you go down there and it tells you that it is 28% depreciation. For 3-tab, it might be 20% depreciation for laminate.
So you're going to have a different depreciation schedule, so to speak, based on material and age. There's going to be a couple different factors. Is there any other factors?
That's also been determined by the insurance company on the percent that they want to do versus a estimating guideline such as Xactimate.
You said a lot there. So depreciation, we're looking at age of roof. We're also looking at material. That's another thing in here. So material type.
Yes, and that's a subset under this percentage on the
Yeah,
roof payment schedule.
So let's say this is A, right? This is B.
Yep.
This is technically like little a, right? And little
Little
b.
b.
And so this would be percent of depreciation schedule.
Correct.
And this is essentially, if we were to go layman's terms, this is more of like an Excel that has columns and rows.
100%.
Like, hey, here's with this type of material and this age and this part of the United States, it's da 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 da.
Correct.
Okay, so we've got that, and what makes up that depreciation schedule is
predetermined by material and predetermined by the insurance company what that material, that depreciation is going to be on that material.
So it's also then technically, again, it's debt by, now is it individual carriers doing it differently? Is it the whole insurance market?
Individual carriers.
Oh, okay. By carrier. Now here's another question that hopefully gets no one in trouble. Is it carrier also state specific, or is it carrier nationally?
It's nationally.
Okay, nationally.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we have a little bit of uniformity.
Just a tiny bit.
Okay, so we've got depreciation that maybe on this example roof is 8K, and that is because of the age of the roof and the percent depreciation schedule, which is actually made up.
Either or.
Or, not and.
Correct.
Okay, or. Who does it one way and who does it another? Is that carrier specific?
So, yes, it is.
Okay.
100%. So, as an adjuster, when I work for example, AFIX, right, they will give me a depreciation schedule. And it's a roof payment schedule. So then I have to refer to that. If I work with another carrier, they do not have a roof payment schedule, then I'm literally putting in the roof is 13 years old, and that's all I have to put in for depreciation, and then Xactimate factors in the rest.
Got it. Okay, so they can decide, hey, it's going to be carrier level. They decide. So carrier decides it's either 1 or it's 2. So it's either this or it's this. And if it's 2, it's a couple different factors.
And can I make it even more confusing than that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of times too, the carrier will have an age of roof until it hits 10 years, or unless they have a roof payment endorsement. And that roof payment endorsement might kick in at a certain age of the roof, let's say 10 or 11 years. Or the customer can actually opt out of that roof payment schedule endorsement.
Okay, so hold on. So depreciation here could be this or this, right? It's carrier specific. It's typically nationally.
Correct.
Okay? Or there is another scenario that can happen, which is a combination of some things.
Exactly.
Right? So it's kind of option number 3. So there's option 1, there's option 2.
Correct.
But then there's an option 3 that is like, honestly, something completely different.
And you can say it's almost a hybrid between the two because let's say it's...
So it's like age of roof until... And is it usually 10 years?
It depending on carrier.
Okay.
Or it's also, sometimes they have this endorsement for roof payment schedule because it lowers the premium by a few dollars, which makes it more attractive to the homeowner. They pick that endorsement for the lower payment without being explained what's going on.
Okay. So we either go age of roof, we go percent depreciation schedule, or we go kind of a hybrid. The hybrid is typically there's some sort of condition up to this time, it's this way, and then after this, it's something else.
100% correct.
Okay. And so then is RPS, what's the difference between that and a just RPS policy straight away?
So there's really no difference. And the nice thing is one of the things that I would like to get in with you too is how to read the policy, because the policy holder, the homeowner, will actually, in their policy, they will actually have that roof payment schedule.
They'll have all this information.
Exactly. They literally will have the percent after so many years, et cetera. They will have that breakdown on depreciation. Okay.
So to summarize, depreciation can be a combination of the two of these with the subset information, or it could be either, and it's going to be carrier specific. And within the carriers, you have typically the option to choose kind of what kind of policy you're looking at, but you may not know that all of this stuff is baked in there if you don't actually read the daggum thing, because you may just be looking at a premium being lower month to month.
Exactly. So what happens a lot of times too is you're a homeowner and you've been paying $300 a month this year. Next year, if you kept everything the same, it'd go to $350. So your insurance agent's like, well, I hate to tell you it's $350, and you're like, I'm going to go shop. So then your insurance agents, let me look at this again. Then they come back to you and, oh, by the way, I found this or I found that. I got you down to $300. You're just excited that you got it back at $300.
Because you're saving $600 a year. So you're like, damn, that's more money in my pocket, but you didn't know what you had to give up.
And the insurance agent wasn't maybe forthcoming on what was tweaked in order to lower that payment by that $50.
Can we look at, though, sorry, I don't mean to cut you.
No.
On an RPS, that's a straight out of the gate, an actual coverage type, like a policy type?
It's an endorsement.
It's an endorsement.
Correct.
RPS, okay, is an endorsement. Okay. Can you explain what that means by endorsement?
So these are some of the things that help lower your premium, like I was referring to earlier. So there are many, many different endorsements that can be chosen and picked. This is one of the ones that are becoming more and more prevalent to lower the premium.
This is a type.
Correct.
Okay. Type, RPS, amazing. What other types typically come up when you're talking about homeowners insurance that when people are doing insurance?
Here, it could literally be jewelry policy, or it could be multi-structure, or it could be an umbrella policy. And there's so many different endorsements. I mean, I wouldn't even want to guess how many type of endorsements are out there, but this is definitely one of them.
Okay, so RPS is one that's more commonly found in the policies recently. And is that just because economy, right, maybe is going kind of this way, and so they want policies instead of going like this, we want to maybe stop this so their policy is a little bit less on the premium?
Well, the bottom line is it does save the carrier money because it's a lower percent than normal. Okay, so it does help the economy view for the carrier, if you will.
Okay, so it helps the carrier from not having to pay out as much at the end of the day when you hit a claim. I hear what you're saying. And it also saves the homeowner in premium today.
Correct.
And so what you're potentially trading, and really this is kind of like not pick your poison, but like pick what you want. What are you optimizing for? You may have lower premium with an RPS endorsement.
Yes.
You may have a lower premium, but then your replacement cost is much higher because insurance covers less of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you had mentioned endorsement earlier, and I wanted to bring to your attention or everybody's attention two other endorsements that we see quite a bit.
Okay.
And we're starting to see this more and more is a wind and hail exclusion.
Okay.
It's very powerful. And then a cosmetic.
And wind and hail exclusion.
Exclusion.
Generally speaking, can you define these?
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
Let's start with
just
wind
like
and
what
hail.
they mean conceptually.
Yeah, so wind and hail exclusion, just like it sounds, it's now going to exclude any claim that has wind or hail in there.
And that would be verifiable wind or hail damage by way of inspection and submission.
Correct. Date of loss, cause of loss.
Okay. Data loss, cause of loss, and documentation to support.
100%.
If you file a claim and if a contractor helps you file a claim and you have an exclusion here, but it is determined by the insurance company, by the desk adjuster, or some other adjuster, that it's actually wind or hail that caused this, you now not only are going to have a higher premium because you filed the claim, but you also are not going to get that coverage.
Not a thing.
Zero.
Really, the only thing is when we look at wind and hail exclusion on a roof, what we're looking for is penetration, for example, like a tree.
Okay.
Let's say the tree fell over and it penetrated.
It hits the ridge, cracks the crap out of everything.
Exactly.
And then water's coming into the garage.
Correct. That's covered.
That's covered because the damage was from something falling.
Correct.
Even if there was wind and hail in that storm potentially.
Correct.
But that the break was from hitting the ridge and it shattered it and water came in. Boom. Not worried about that.
Correct. That would be covered.
Okay. In a scenario where that happens, but then there's also wind and hail damage on the roof, but technically speaking, that loss is there. Generally here, right? Across different states, different carriers. Would that still be full replacement if you cracked, let's say, like the top ridge and affected both slopes?
Now that I don't want to answer because it is claim specific.
Okay.
More than likely, I would, depending on the extent of damage, depending on the state as well, depending on some of the building codes, it could be full replacement or it could just be a repair to that small area. It just depends on the extent of
it's going to depend on a bunch
damage.
of factors. Hey, where is it? What else was happening? What are the adjusters in that area doing? Who are you working with? What kind of documentation?
I literally have seen tree impact homes where the home had to be completely rebuilt because it literally shifted on foundation. I've seen trees impact the roof where it's just a branch goes to the roof, maybe a 6-inch diameter hole.
And so your attic is filling up with water, but like, hey, we're going to replace the decking here. We're going to re-hit this slope, and we're going to be done.
No, they're also going to replace the interior.
Okay,
that was damaged as well.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
But it may just be within a defined area as
You are
opposed
correct.
to like, hey man, I want this whole roof, like it's also really old. Can we just replace the whole thing? That may not happen.
Correct.
Okay. So this is a common endorsement that you're seeing more, right? Typically, go ahead.
This is brand new too.
Brand new. How new?
I've only seen it in the last 2 years.
Okay. So seen it last 2 years, 24 months. That is pretty new. How new is this?
This has been around for a while. They've kind of toyed with the idea, but we're seeing it more and more prevalent also in probably the last 2 years.
Okay. So 2 years, 2 years. Now, what about cosmetic?
So cosmetic
Let's
is...
define that first.
Sure. So it's going to be anything that, for example, let's say they have metal siding. It's dented. They have a hail damage. All their downspouts are destroyed. Their gutters are destroyed with hail.
Yeah.
But they're still functional.
Okay. So they still carry water. They don't leak. They're still good.
Therefore, it's only cosmetic. Therefore, it's not covered.
Okay. To take maybe an example that people would also understand watching this, your car has, if you have a cosmetic exclusion for your car and it sits in hail and gets dinged, but like that's not affecting the tires, that's not affecting the engine, that's not affecting, even the windshield didn't break it, it just dented the crap out of the top of your car. That would be something like,
not going to cover it. Now, using that same analogy, let's say you had a large enough hail and it went through the windshield and now you have water damage on the inside and it's destroyed your upholstery.
The windshield,
exactly.
And like your upholstery is pulling up.
Then it would be covered.
Okay. But that's an actual loss that's non-cosmetic.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Smooth. What percentage, if you had to say, just generally speaking, on the not what's the percentage that they still get approved and what have you, but if you were to say on these endorsements, right? We look at RPS, right? We look at cosmetic, right? And then we look at hail and wind exclusion. About what percentage would you say of people's policies today, even with them being a little bit more new, have something like this they probably don't know about? Okay. And not because anyone's being malicious, but because they haven't read 55 pages, because who does that even on TOS?
90% of our homeowners, when I go to their house...
have one of them. So 90%...
It also depends on the carrier. Yep. So the carrier I just currently worked for, yes, I would say over 90% had this.
Okay.
40, 50% this.
Okay.
I actually didn't see any of these because they probably actually stopped this when it was called in for that. And I was working a hail and wind event, so I did not see any of this at the time.
Okay. Okay.
And out of all those, the homeowner was maybe aware maybe 5% of the time of the endorsements that they had.
Aware that this was baked into the contract,
Correct.
that they signed and said that they read fully, that they initialed, that they legally bound themselves to.
Correct.
Okay. So 90... right? 45, you said?
Yeah, that's probably close.
45, and then this was just
I didn't
the last
see any.
one.
Correct.
Let's say not the last time that you did that, just over the last 2 years, about percentage-wise.
This one maybe 20 to 30.
20 to 30? Now, also on this, I have a follow-up here. Is this also going to be geographically different? Like completely
That's a great question. I was literally getting ready to tell you. This hail and wind, I'm seeing this a lot in Florida.
Okay. So this happens typically where there's more hurricanes, essentially.
Go figure.
Your policies have this endorsement. They're like, hey, and if a hurricane comes, wish you the best of luck. Amazing. Okay. So that's more coastal, anywhere in the hurricane path?
Yes. We are starting to see this in the northern states a little bit, but it's more prevalent. Probably got born in the southern states because of that.
Okay. And what about cosmetic?
Nationwide.
Okay. Kind of all over the place, and then RPS?
Nationwide.
Nationwide. Yeah. Okay. Not really a bucket, like a heat map with these two, but more of a heat map with this in the places where insurance companies are having to pay out a crap ton of money all over the place.
This is where I saw this first come into play. Now we're starting to
more
see it.
State,
correct.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to see it more.
Up.
Yes.
Okay. Now, curious, when we're talking about how this benefits homeowner, obviously we talked about premium. Is there any other benefit to them for having something like this today, not in a time of loss, but today, other than premium?
Not that I can think of. No.
Okay. And so with that being the case, do these affect premium differently? Like does RPS affect your premiums way lower than like a cosmetic and HM?
Now that I don't want to speak to. So I don't know the answer.
It's different?
It is. Okay. Correct.
So that's carrier specific. So like the prevalence of these, as you're seeing, is about those percentages. There's downsides, right, when you do try to replace, but there's upsides in premium for homeowner. And so that's why this is being used most of the time.
Correct. And let me be very clear too.
Yep.
The carrier I worked for last, on the last storm, this was very prevalent.
Okay.
I literally could work for a carrier next week, that different carrier, and I'll see this maybe 5% or 0.
Okay.
So it is carrier specific.
Yep.
So And the last one I did work for is a very large umbrella. I don't want to mention names.
That's
but
fine.
it did cover quite a few companies there.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. You don't need to dox anyone. That's fine. We're looking to pull out the things that people should know, right? And
Fair
the
enough.
things that would be helpful for them to know. So let's say these endorsements show up that way. Why do roofing companies not know about this? Or do they?
They do.
Okay.
And I think that's going to lead into our discussion a little bit, because you see more and more roofers that are really trying to focus on retail only. They are becoming aware of this, and it is a thorn in their side, of course, because not the whole job is being paid for. And that's what I think we were talking about on the first or second slide, where we're breaking down ACV, RCV, repayment, and everything else. It's a cash flow issue. It's less of a payment from the insurance company than they were experiencing before. So yes, roofers are becoming aware of this, and you're starting to see a movement in the roofing industry where they're really trying to focus on retail.
Okay. What would you say, just across the U.S., how much awareness, or how many roofers, if you say TAM is like 90 to 110,000, let's say anywhere in there, of roofing companies, not people knocking, but companies that exist on the residential side. Let's say that's the case. About how much of that 90 to 110 actually know that this exists in the prevalence that it does?
I would think that if they don't know, they're not on social media at all. Because if you follow any kind of roofing groups, as I'm sure you're aware on Facebook, we see these, this one in particular, and the ACV policies get discussed nonstop. So if I were to guess, I mean, it would have to be at least 95% of that should be aware of what's going on here. If they're not, they don't know what's going on anyway.
Okay. If they're not, they're either not running insurance at all,
correct,
not dealing with anyone to do with insurance,
right,
or they have their head in the sand kind of thing.
There you go.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of proponents. There's a lot of proponents in these Facebook groups that you're talking about that believe that this is bad. I'm curious, just generally speaking, I don't know that I can wrap my head around that insurance is bad just because they have these places where like they don't want to lose their whole ass on.
Correct.
Okay. Can you speak to that a little bit? Because I think this to me just seems like you can't have everything everywhere all at the same time. You have to trade. Like if you want to pay car insurance $250, well, you probably need an older car, no accidents, and by older I mean like early 2000s maybe, no accidents, and you better have a clean driving record.
Correct.
Right? If you don't want to pay $500, maybe don't go 90 over.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or don't go buy a car that's $300,000 because you're gonna pay a ton of money.
You are.
So, can you speak to that? Because I have a hard time wrapping my head around that insurance is just evil completely.
Insurance is there and has been put there for a reason, right? Yep. So insurance, though, is like any other business. And I would actually ask the roofing company, if the cost of shingles kept going up, and I would expect a roofer to raise his rates, correct? To make sure that they stay in business. So there have been major storms, right? Insurance companies have paid out quite a bit of money. They're not a business to lose money either. They have to answer to their shareholders.
Well, they're for profit. It's not a not for profit.
I have a whole other thing on that. If they quit paying some of their celebrity spokespeople, they could probably pay more claims, but that's a whole other discussion. But they are in business to be in business and to provide a profit. Yep. So instead of just dropping somebody, because that's also another option. We've seen that before too. Instead of just dropping the homeowner, they find creative ways to still offer coverage, but also kind of protect their bottom line as well.
Yeah, they're for profit. Is that bad?
No.
Okay.
No.
Why?
Why is profit bad?
Why would it not be bad that they're for profit? The insurance companies, because the insurance companies they're big bad bullies, Remko.
They are.
Why can they make money?
They're needed.
Okay.
Right. So yes, profit is to me, it's not a 4-letter word. It's we need these companies. We do need the protection that they do provide. Unfortunately, sometimes as well, they've been taken advantage of.
The insurance companies have been taken advantage of?
Correct. So a lot of times there's a lot of finger pointing to the insurance company, but sometimes I think we could turn the fingers on, point at ourselves in the roofing industry as well. A lot of fraudulent claims have been filed. There's been a lot of, you and I have both seen a lot of that, the news on that. So, and that's all affects their bottom line. Yeah. So they have to offset that as well. So, but profit's not it's not a bad word. Yeah. Ask any owner of a roofing company, is profit a bad word? Absolutely not. But sometimes we think it's okay for us, but not for the other person.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because this to me, if I'm to say, hey, I'm going to take positive intent and say insurance is not bad. I know a lot of people that work for insurance that are wonderful humans. Like I just can't imagine they'd be serving, some evil
My
evil
son
dictator.
actually works for an insurance company, so yes.
I think it's interesting. This to me seems like a creative way to keep you covered
Correct.
while not costing you your whole salary.
Mm-hmm.
But also, hey, we can't just pay for everything everywhere all at the same time.
Correct.
Under every circumstance.
Right.
You don't just you pay me $500, so then you pay me $500 a month, so I give you a $40,000 roof anytime you want it.
Right. In a sense, I would almost look at this like in medical, right?
Yep.
You have generic prescriptions for a reason.
Yep.
It's still going to give you cover. It's still going to help you.
Yeah.
It might not have the name brand behind it, but it's also offered to you at a lower premium or a lower price. And that's what this is allowing you to do as well.
Do you feel like roofers have this wrong? Even those that believe that like profit should be made, but do roofers have this wrong?
In what way, if you don't mind me asking?
Their perception of this?
I think it's the mindset when you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we have a negative mindset, you could look at anything in a positive or negative mindset. I think if you look at it in a certain direction, then you're going to look at it very negatively. You're going to speak of it negatively, and it's going to affect you in a business negative. But if you look at it from the angle that I hope we get to cover today, I hope to change that mindset a little bit for you.
Yeah, this to me seems like, hey, this is cost of doing business. You roofers in general, anyone watching this, does not have the ability to file a claim and get it 100% approved at whatever dollar amount you decide forever in perpetuity. There's been a lot of companies in the roofing space that have made a lot of money on order taking, and some of them also by finding discontinued shingles, as we
Go figure.
know very well.
Right.
Hey, that's discontinued, and they found a way to put themselves in a position to have full replacement damn near imminent because they can't repair that. That doesn't exist anymore. And so to me, it's like landscape is changing a bit.
Everything evolves, James, right?
Changing a bit, yeah.
You show me one business that hasn't evolved, right? When I first started as an insurance adjuster, that was about 14,000 claims ago. Back then, it was common. Everybody had a $500 deductible, and everything was RCV.
Yep.
And which we still haven't got over, which we'll cover that, the RCV.
We'll go back there.
But that was common. So 500, that was nothing, right? So for a homeowner just to write a check for 500 versus now 1 or 2% deductible.
And 1 or 2% deductible on a standard roof, let's say like a 25 square. I mean, what are we talking dollar amount?
See, the problem is not on the roof. Okay, that's a great question. It's the policy on the homeowner, the property coverage. So you might have a 25 square roof, but your house might be worth $400,000 in Ohio. It might be worth $100,000 in Georgia,
or $2 million in like
California.
the back of some random neighborhood.
Exactly,
and it's the same square.
Correct.
Okay.
So then that deductible is based on the actual homeowner's policy. So if it's based on the 1 million versus 200,000, of course we have a huge
massive
range
difference.
Exactly on that deductible, even though it's the same square roof.
Yeah. Okay. No, I like this. Now you mentioned something that I haven't pulled back on yet, but I'm curious. You said the last carrier I was working with, the last company I was working with. For anyone watching that has no idea who you are, no idea what you've done, what do you mean when you say the last carrier you worked for?
So I'm an independent adjuster.
Okay. What does that mean?
So there's two type of adjusters.
Okay.
And anybody in the roofing industry will tell you that they love to see my type of adjuster on the roof, and that's independent.
Independent? Okay.
Right.
Why do they like to see you?
And the second one is staff. So the independent.
Staff meaning desk?
No.
Staff
means, so independent is 1099.
Okay.
Normally they're working through a TPA.
What's a TPA?
Third party administrator.
Okay. TPA, optional, typically.
And so they go out and when the claim's filed, they go out and do the inspection just like staff does.
On behalf of insurance company.
Yes.
Okay. On behalf of insurance company. Amazing. Cool.
Staff is actually normally a W-2 from the insurance company.
Normally or always?
I've seen it both. So let's
W-2. Amazing. Yep.
So staff is actually for example, an insurance carrier employee.
Okay. They work they are employed, and payroll tax is partly covered by the insurance company.
Correct. When they show up, they're going to have that carrier logo on their shirt.
Big red, big whatever.
We'll go with that.
Cool. Employed directly by way of you obviously have the test to be an independent contractor. Like that's it's a little bit separate from this, but work directly for them.
Correct.
Awesome. And then work on behalf of?
You still work. So independent works on behalf of the carrier, but through a TPA. 90% of the time.
works on behalf through, we'll just say through TPA for this, but knowing that, what's the percentage of TPA versus non-TPA typically?
If you're independent,
Yeah.
98%.
98%.
I would guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
so damn near 100%.
Yes.
Like basically every single time.
Exactly.
Almost. Okay, so adjuster types. You were this, not this.
Correct.
Were you ever this?
No.
No. Why?
So I live in Ohio, work in Ohio.
Okay.
There's actually no licensing required for Ohio. I think there's
For an adjuster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally anybody could be an adjuster.
Okay.
I think there's 11 states left. I actually have my licenses actually set what we call a DHS or designated home state, and I have it set with Texas because they require.
Okay, so your licensure is there, but you technically have reciprocity, so to speak, in Ohio?
Correct.
Do you
Well,
have
Ohio doesn't require it anyway.
So like you don't need it.
Correct.
Do you have reciprocity with your Texas license anywhere else?
Yes. Now you do have to pay for state-specific licensing on top
Similar
of that.
to
but
like
yes,
legal, like if you're barred in Florida, well, I don't want to speak out of my ass here, but if you're barred in some states, you can get reciprocity. You got to go take a certifying, and pay some money, and then like now you can practice in both.
correct. So with the DHS of Texas, I could go anywhere in the United States except for New York and California. Go figure.
Okay.
So those are the only two that don't allow that. You have to be licensed there directly.
The other 48 states are good?
Yes.
Wow. So the exclusions on, and you said designated home state,
Correct.
DHS.
Yes.
Okay. How many contractors are even understanding what that is?
Maybe zero.
Okay. Which unsurprisingly also have the craziest privacy laws as well.
Exactly.
And you don't have the ability to run the same way in those states that you do everywhere else.
Right. Okay. So back to here. So why did I choose independent? Independent gives me a little bit more flexibility.
Flexibility in money making, flexibility in life, flexibility in hanging out with your people whenever you want.
All the above. I could choose whether to be deployed. I could choose what I want to do, when I want to work, and where I want to work.
What locations you want to work.
Exactly.
Potentially what CAT events you want to work, what storms you want to work, that kind of thing. You can say,
Correct.
I'm good. Yep,
Correct.
I'm down, or I'm going to hang out with fam. Like I'm all good.
100% correct.
Okay.
If I'm staff, then I'm of course required because I actually work for them, and they're like, you need to go out to South Dakota.
We
just
need
had
X amount of people, and you work for us directly, so you're going.
correct.
Like have fun in the hotel.
Exactly.
You're going to be there for a bit.
Correct.
Okay.
So independent, again, I'll get approached and they'll say, we have openings for this state for this event.
Yeah.
Here's the fee schedule. Are you willing to do that or not? So then I can pick and choose.
And fee schedule in that context, that's fee schedule like what you're going to get paid. Like,
correct.
That's, hey, this is what you could make. They present that to you ahead of time?
So it's per claim. So they do present that ahead of time. Is events have a higher fee schedule.
Certain, like the degree of loss?
Correct. So if you look at it, there's regular, we call it dailies. Then you have CAT event. Okay, catastrophic.
Yep.
Then a CAT 1 through 4, I think, is a certain fee schedule, and a CAT 5 and up is even a higher fee schedule. So it does.
CAT 5 and up is worse.
Correct.
So it's more money.
Correct.
Because there's more stuff going on.
Correct.
Do they typically send people that know more to those, or they?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's more tenured, and you make more money.
Correct. And then you have certain. I've been blessed to be with this TPA long enough. I'm on a certain CAT hit team.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm one of
kind of like first response
correct.
On very important big events because you have a lot of success.
Correct.
Working through them, and carriers have enjoyed the work that you've
that I've turned in. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Why would they enjoy your work over mine or Avery's or Madison or anybody else?
Do you know how to write a claim in Xactimate?
Hell no, I don't.
There you go. So one of the things that made me, so my brother-in-law actually trained me in this. Okay. Interesting story. He is a West Point grad, played football for them.
Right on.
An amazing individual, but he's very, very disciplined. He and I both share a little bit of OCD,
detail-oriented.
Yes. And I think that makes a good adjuster. So I'm very, very specific when I get to there, and I'm looking forward to going over that with you. I have a very strict routine that we do not deviate from, which makes, and I have a little OCD, so I could catch little things that are off a little bit. So I turn in very good work, very detail oriented, and I turn it in quickly, very timely. That's very, very important.
Okay. Yeah. When you say good work, so we got detail. What else makes good work?
Timely. So there are very strict parameters that they give us. So as soon as I get a claim, I have 24 hours to be in contact with them.
Now, when you
with
get
the
a claim, you
homeowner.
mean homeowner files, hey, insurance, I need some help.
Correct.
And you have 24 hours to contact, like first point of contact?
Correct.
Is that SMS, email? Is that?
It depends on the carrier
Okay.
as well, but
Yeah.
most of the time,
They have requirements for it?
exactly.
Okay.
And then a lot of times the requirement, if at all possible, it has to be seen within a certain number of days, let's say 4
You have
or
to go on
7
site
days
for it.
to be on site for
Okay.
the inspection. And then definitely after the inspection, everything
Uh-huh.
has to be turned in within 48 hours.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, really tight turnarounds. Where if you're consistently hitting those, they want to do more work with you and they want to send you out to more events where they need help.
Yeah.
Because you're providing a service to them to help them get through them because they don't have enough of these.
Correct. You're 100%
Okay.
correct. And they do an internal scoring always. So every
Okay.
claim I turn in, they
They
literally
score your claim and they score you as an adjuster.
all of the above.
All of it. Okay.
All of the above.
Okay. Do you have the highest score ever, or you just not a winner quite yet?
I've had the award actually a couple of times.
Award? What kind of award?
Adjuster of the month a couple of times. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Smooth.
yeah.
Yeah. So we've got timeliness.
That and $5 buys you a bag of peanuts. I'm telling you.
So we've got timeliness
Uh-huh.
and we've got the detail orientation.
Mhm.
Now your inspection, and I want to go into some of that in a bit. I don't
Sure.
want to go too deep. Is there a big deviation from your inspection from what an insurance roofer is inspecting? Are you inspecting
Are you saying
massively
staff?
different?
Okay.
No. Taking the staff away.
Oh, I'm so
I'm
sorry.
saying you.
Mhm.
So insurance contractors or roofers that serve and really like to run insurance instead of retail.
Mhm.
Is your inspection completely different from them? Or do you typically just have, hey, I've got a more thorough comb that I go through on this, and I pick up on things that maybe they're not paying attention to?
I like to think I still do a better job than insurance roofers.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Yep.
sometimes, they're pointing out something that I might have missed. I mean, I'm human.
Well, you are human.
But
Yeah.
I've also done more claims than they have.
Yep.
So I know what to look for. I look for what we call collateral a lot of times that they might have missed.
Collateral meaning, can we define that in a sense?
Sure. So let's go back to a hail claim. Hail,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So collateral might mean splatter on a wood privacy fence on the stain.
Splatter on a, okay. So like blow away stain.
No, you'll see little spots on the stain
Okay.
from
Yep.
the impact. Okay.
Oh,
It
okay.
helps build a story. That's
Yeah.
key. You have to build a story.
Okay.
A lot of times it's not just the hail on the roof itself and how many hits per square,
Yep.
which it's a whole other discussion. But then it's also
Yeah.
the any kind of roofing materials that are like soft metals,
Okay.
right? So
They can ding easily.
Correct.
And
So-
they would if you had a legitimate
If you
hail event.
correct, and you
They
got
would
turtle
legitimately
vents
ding.
or something
Yeah.
of that nature, or just aluminum ridge vent. You're
Uh-huh.
going to see that very, very
Okay.
quickly, chalking to make it easier to see. But then also, you're looking at this window screens. You're
Mhm.
looking at AC fins
Yep.
of the AC unit.
Like
Siding.
inside of the actual AC unit, you're
Correct.
like peering in there.
Well, on the side actually. So
Oh,
you're going to see
okay.
those cooling fins, and they're aluminum,
Yeah.
and they get dented very, very easy. So hail hits that, and you'll see that.
Okay.
Okay. The
Ah,
screens.
sounds like so collateral, really like more context clues that build the case for this actually being a thing and it not being fraudulent or not being something else.
That's great. Great way to put.
Okay.
So the other thing too is when I look at window screens, I always I refer to it like a run-in pantyhose because you'll see the impact,
Mhm.
and then it runs as the hail drips down the screen. Okay.
Okay.
Then it's the little bit of aluminum around that window screen.
Mhm.
It's very soft. It also gets
Oh, yeah.
damaged.
All you got to do is go to Home Depot and try to buy some window screens and grab them wrong. You're like, whoa, this is bent in half.
Right.
What is happening?
Right. Shutters.
Okay.
Right. So a lot of those are thinner. You'll see
Yep.
them vinyl siding. You'll see,
Yeah.
holes or cracks in it. So all that
I
kind
see
of
splitting or there's something to give an indication of like that either supports what you're saying or that supports something else entirely that like, yeah, this is not.
Yep.
It's maybe still damage. It's absolutely still damage, but it's not what you're saying it is.
correct.
Okay.
Big one that I just saw in the last 2 months, the casement window wells in the basement.
Okay.
And sometimes they have a plexiglass cover over that.
Okay.
Those get destroyed quickly.
Yeah.
So anything that you can do to tell that story
Mhm.
and build up your case for that claim, that's what I look for, everything like that.
Okay. What's the benefit to a roofer
Mhm.
having someone like yourself come out opposed to someone that's staff?
Really don't want to get in too much detail on that one, but the roofer is always going to find that the independent works with them a little bit easier.
Works with them a little bit easier on the things that are appropriate to work with them on.
100%.
So
It has
still
to be
within guidelines.
It has to be within guidelines.
Yeah.
It has to be within the
Yeah.
parameters and the guidelines that, that are set. It cannot be made up, of course,
Yeah.
but the independent normally, as a rule of thumb, is going to work with the homeowner and the roofer.
The contractor. Yeah.
Correct.
A little bit,
Again, like you said,
yeah.
as long as it's within the parameters.
Well, sure, it's still got to be legal and ethical and what have you. But I'm just curious because I know, like I've seen the videos of roofers screaming at adjusters. Is that typically staff or is that typically?
It's all of us. No, I've never.
No one screamed at you?
No, I've never had a problem myself.
Really?
Okay,
I've heard those claims.
All those claims. Yep.
And how many was it?
I've been frustrated with some contractors, but we've never had a screaming match ever. A little over 14,000.
Okay, so 14,000, and I think this is important to pause on for one moment.
Okay.
14,000 times that you've interacted, over 14,000 times that you've interacted, and you've yet to be in a video or be with somebody where y'all were frustrated enough that you're screaming at each other. So then, if that's the case, who's to blame, or what are we missing, or what is not being heard between contractor and adjusters that then creates or produces the videos that we see that swirl around online with millions of views of people screaming at each other?
I really don't want to speak to that because I'm not there.
Okay.
You and I weren't there to see what led up to that.
Yeah.
There might have been phone calls. There might have been texts between the two before. They might have had history from another roof in the last 6 months. Their kids might be fighting each other on the baseball field, because they grew up in, who knows? So I don't want to speak to that, and I hope you can respect that.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
I'm not there. All I know is I've never seen it, and I've seen it, on social media. I've never heard of it from any of my other adjusters that I work with.
Amazing. Let's invert it then.
Okay.
How have you, what have you done intentionally to work in the best interest of homeowner and make sure that roofing contractor is respected and honored there to never have one of those things happen in 14,000 claims?
So for me, when I go to a home, it's very, very important to me. When I meet that homeowner, I look at that homeowner as an extension of my family. It's my aunt, it's my uncle. And how would I want that family member to be treated?
I think that's important. Homeowner as extension of you.
Correct.
Or someone
Yeah.
Someone that you're related to. Okay.
So when I go to their
Is that the number one thing that you would say?
It is for
like
me.
Before anything. If this is not here, you could be in a position where you wouldn't have 14,000 without, potentially.
Potentially.
Okay. So this is number one. Why?
It's empathy.
Okay.
A lot
Tactical
of times,
empathy?
So
Or just
I'm sorry I'm talking over you, but this is where I get passionate. That
Yeah.
homeowner actually, 90% of the time, probably they've never filed a claim before.
So they don't have experience the way that you do with insurance dealings or with contractor dealings or what have you.
Correct. And they are lost.
Okay.
They're
Typically
like
afraid, fearful.
have no idea what the next steps are, have no idea why I'm there. I mean, they
They
literally
don't really know who you are.
Correct.
They're just like, contractor said someone's coming. You're here. They're here. I need this fixed. I don't have all the money to do this. What the heck is
and
happening?
sometimes the contractor has not even been contacted yet.
Okay.
All right. So sometimes a homeowner just calls the insurance company directly.
And then they send you out.
Correct.
Okay.
So then as I come out,
Is that more percentage or is it usually the other side or how's that typically look?
depends on how aggressive the contractors are in that area when a storm hits. Okay. That's what we normally see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say it's more storm related, and that's when we start to see a greater influx of a higher percentage of contractor. And the contractor technically is not allowed to call in the claim. The homeowner is, but
Which is an interesting statement that we can unpack in a bit, but it's very funny. It's very funny that that is the case, but everyone seems to be calling themselves. So this is number one thing that you've done to ensure that you don't have screaming matches with any contractors. What else?
between you and I, this is the number one thing for life in general, right?
Okay. Yep.
I mean, not just my job, but I think if we, and that's one thing, if we treat human beings as human beings and we have more empathy, no matter what job we're in, yes.
It's human first.
Yes.
Right? So let's say the contractor, the adjuster, they're human first. You as an adjuster, what else are you doing to make sure that you best serve homeowner and you take care of contractor ethically and legally and
I
within
take
the
my
parameters?
time.
Okay.
So, and what I mean by that is I don't just rush. A lot of times, I mean, I literally have been there and the homeowner's like, or the contractor, and they're like, we have damage here, just That's where the damage is. A lot of times an adjuster might just go directly there and nothing else. Okay. For example, if they have a detached garage, we're going to make sure we take a look at that to make sure there's no damage there. I'm going to look at $1,500 wood swing set in the back to see if it was damaged by hail and so on and so forth. So we're taking the time, we're doing, and I want to provide the most complete estimate to that homeowner to restore it to pre-loss condition. There's your keywords.
Okay. To put it there. So you treat them as humans, as an extension of yours, or perhaps how you would want your wife, your mom, kiddo, or somebody treated in your absence.
Yep.
Number two, you're taking your time, not just saying, because contractor says this, then you immediately go there.
Correct.
You're like, okay, this is an area I'm going to look at, but then I'm also going to look at this, and this, because you're running the same process that you're going to run on any of them.
Exactly.
So even a contractor says, hey, look at this square that I have right here and all these, like, don't look anywhere else, look right here. You're going to say, yes, and let me look here and this and this. Let me look at all the other areas that you're talking about that would also be, if it was a real thing that happened the way that they're saying.
Correct.
There's all these other things that would be documentation and collateral that you could use.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, you only get there because you take time? You only get to these other things because you take time? Or you have a ton of experience and so you have a process that others don't run?
A very, very specific process that I do not deviate from.
Okay. Specific process. So it's, you take your time. It's same, right? So every instance, you work 1, then you work 2, then you go 3, then you go 4, then you go 5, then you go 6. Every time, and from the combination of that with the collateral that you're trying to have, also what contractor is saying, what homeowner is saying, and explaining probably the stuff that we were talking about, ACV, RCV, recoverable depreciation, et cetera, to them along the process.
Correct.
So that they don't have more fear, they don't have more worry. You get to a place where you've never gotten a screaming match.
I have not.
People probably don't mind seeing you if they've ever worked with you before.
Absolutely not.
You're thorough, so you get calls back to do more work, and you make sure that you verify what's been said, regardless of who brought it up.
Exactly.
What else are we missing? Because this seems like this is something that I think even a roofer could take and say, hey, when I'm doing an inspection, forget insurance for a second. When I'm doing an inspection in general, if I do this, hoo-wee, I get a lot of 5-star reviews.
There you go.
What are we missing on this?
I don't think there's anything that I'm missing.
That's
it.
it.
Yeah.
That's the exhaustive list.
It's pretty.
This is how easy it is.
Pretty common knowledge.
You want to be as good at Remko as this. This is all you got to do. Just 1, 2, 3. Pretty simple. But most people never even do this. They focus, hyperfixate on this, and they throw this out.
I will say one other thing is I always underpromise and overdeliver as well.
Okay.
Okay. So
in what areas?
time.
Okay.
So that actually, sorry, just came to mind. Time is important for everybody, right? How many times have we called the cable company and they're like, we'll be at your house between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Yeah, my 12-hour window. That's crazy.
Exactly. So what I always do, just out of respect, and again, it's a matter of respect. If we respect the homeowner, we will take these extra steps. I will give them normally an hour window. I'll be there between 1 and 2, but I always call them en route as well. By the way,
About
I'm
like
en
5,
route
10 minutes out, 30 minutes out.
as soon as I leave the previous house. So it might be just 2 streets over, so it only gives me 5 minutes, or it might be an hour out. But I always give them a call. By the way, here's my more exact ETA. That right there, because I get surveyed, and that's the thing that's very important.
And you're looking at GPS, and you're saying like, hey, I'm
100%.
45 minutes out. Hey, ETA is 45, assuming this, and this.
I told you between 1 and 2, I'm going to be there between 120, 125.
Yeah.
So some of my reports that come back on surveys, that's where I score the highest on is communication.
Yeah.
So communication, I think is,
Absolutely. Under promising and over delivering, but that is underpinned by communicating appropriately and making sure that expectations are set. When you show up on site, and we got a lot of other stuff we're going to try to get through here today, but when you show up on site, do you have, if you had to say that there's 3 things on expectations that you would give to homeowner and contractor there when you're on site, what are those things? How are you setting expectations when you show up?
So first of all, I'm setting expectations by just, first of all, introducing myself and then going, this is the process. This is what's going to happen today.
2, yep. Going through process.
The process being the inspection and everything else.
Yeah.
And then
here's what I'm going to look at. Here's how I'm going to look at it. Here's why I'm going to look at it.
Correct.
Here's Do they typically have questions around their policy or this, that, and the other? Do you look at any of that? Do you stay away from that? Do you have to stay away from that?
I don't look at any of
Okay.
that. Okay. But as you all know, because you probably have done it too, when it's a hailstorm, you're out there videoing it, right?
Yeah.
And a homeowner wants to show you that video. That video has no play into my
They're like, look, hail.
Exactly.
I see hail.
And we take a few moments and we look at that, right? Or the pictures of the baseball size hail in their hand. Trust me, if it's that, we're going to see the damage. I don't need to see it, but just out of courtesy, it's important to them. So I'm going to take a few minutes and do that. Then I'm going to go through my process, the inspection, but then I'm going to wrap it up by sitting down with the client as well.
So we get the intro, we got process explainer, then we're working the process. And then number 4 here is then you're going to sit down with just the homeowner, you said?
And the contractor. If the contractor's there, I always ask for the contractor to come over too. So that way he or she, contractor, can actually hear what I'm saying. And then there's hopefully
not playing
no questions.
telephone.
Exactly. And so one of the things that on the independent, I don't work for the insurance company.
Yep.
Okay, so I can't legally say this is going to be covered or that's not. Okay, the one benefit of a staff adjuster is they're able to tell you that right on site, and a lot of times they're able to write you the
because
check.
of W-2, they have the ability, they have the authority to say, like, I have in the back of their mind, they know they have X amount of authority for different things, and they have schedules that they can potentially write on site if they want.
Correct. They might have up to a certain dollar amount where they can actually issue
they
a
can
check.
Just approve there,
correct,
without someone that manages them looking over it and double checking and verifying. Okay,
correct. So that is a huge benefit of a staff.
That's a downside of an independent, eh? You can't write them a check immediately.
Exactly.
Okay. Now it doesn't mean that it's a reason to like hope that everyone's going to be staff, but it is like there's a trade-off. There's differences.
There is.
And
there is.
You're going to see different person coming out depending on what type of event it probably is and how many other people are needed. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So like if there's a massive catastrophic event, you're going to have a lot more independent running around than you probably are staff.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Good to know.
Yep. So because of that, when I sit down with them, I cannot tell them, yes, this is covered or no, it's not. Okay. But basically I tell them, I'm going to send in my recommendations. You're going to hear back from your desk adjuster in X amount of days. They will go over the process with you. I also know beforehand it's ACV or RCV. We're going back to that. So then I explain to them the RCV process, if it is, and when they get the second check and how that whole process works. So I hold their hand as much as I can through that process.
Okay, as much as you're allowed to.
Correct.
Now, do you tell them your recommendation that you're going to make?
No.
Or you're not allowed to?
No.
Not allowed to. So you can tell them you're going to make a recommendation. You walk them through the process of what happens after you make the recommendation, but you can't tell them, I believe this is da-da-da.
That is correct.
Okay. And so at no point are adjusters allowed to do that if you're independent?
If you're independent.
Okay. Because it has to get checked off, signed off by someone at whatever.
At the carrier.
Yeah.
Right. And again, I don't work as the carrier. Actually, do you mind going back to the adjuster page?
Yeah. Like, I think that's the last page, or 2 pages ago.
Because there's something else that's important that just is really coming on the scene here too.
Yep.
So we have independent, we have staff, and now we have inspection only.
Inspection only.
Yeah.
What in the world is that? It's another type of adjustment?
It is.
Hold on. What? Inspection only.
Yeah, this is becoming.
Okay. What does that mean?
That means nobody likes this. As far as
nobody in the process likes it.
Independent adjusters don't like it. Contractors don't like it. So these are individuals
Homeowners probably don't like it either, if both of those parties don't.
So the inspection only, what they're doing is they are coming on site. All they're doing is just taking photos and then turning that in. So
they're taking photos of the chalk that the contractor has written all over the place, or they're taking photos of whatever damage has been said is there? Or?
It depends on who that person is.
It's up to the individual that
Correct.
shows up.
This individual doesn't even need to be licensed.
Okay.
Okay.
But what if someone says, in your state, you're not licensed?
Well, a lot of these guys, especially when the storms hit, that might have been the third roof they ever climbed on, and they're like, okay, we just need you to take pictures.
So they don't have tenure typically.
No.
And they're usually used as overflow when there's not enough of this in a catastrophic event, or more around big weather events that are maybe not.
We're starting to see this more and more because it's a lower fee that the carrier has to pay or the TPA has to pay.
They get paid less, and
Correct.
So carriers are sometimes when they need way more bodies, they're bringing this in.
We're starting to see this even when they don't need way more bodies because it is a lower output.
Okay.
So
now,
sorry,
how prevalent?
It's more and more prevalent.
Regionally or
no, nationally?
Okay, nationally. And carrier specific?
I would say for now, but you're starting to see more and more carriers push for that.
Okay, in general.
Correct.
Because it helps them?
Yes.
Okay. Does homeowner have recourse, or does Does contractor have recourse if any of these three come out to ask for someone else?
You can always ask for a reinspection.
Okay. But does that fall under number 3, or is that just like a reinspection
It could
of
be
whoever
on
it is?
any of them.
Okay.
Right. It could be me coming out as
Yeah.
independent.
And then he's
right?
like, I want that redone.
Correct.
And you have the ability to ask typically with the carriers to do that as a homeowner, to like, hey, I want.
Most carriers in the homeowner can request a reinspection.
Okay.
Right.
Typically like a one-time thing.
Correct.
Some
Carriers don't.
Yeah.
But then they can also ask for appraisal,
Okay.
and some carriers don't accept that either. So it is carrier specific.
Okay.
But
So there's some nuance.
there's some nuance there.
But
Correct.
typically, if you feel like you got okey doked on the first one, you can reach out to someone at the insurance company to get it done again,
Correct.
and then send out somebody.
Normally,
else.
yes.
Okay. Normally, what percentage do they send the same person out?
The firm that I work for, it's always somebody different.
Probably on purpose to try to be ethical and
Correct,
try to
correct.
give them what they're looking for, another set of eyes that has not had any of these conversations.
But a lot of times I hear
Mhm.
that it is the same individual.
Okay. And that doesn't best serve the homeowner, or it does?
Well, it's the same person. Then it's just, you're having the same argument basically.
So then it
because
comes back to how well they followed the steps that we're talking about here.
or the specific rule sets that they were given.
Hey, here's your marching orders. Here's what we want you to do.
There.
And so has a lot to do with how that person is taken care of
Correct.
at the end of the day.
Yep.
Okay. With adjusters, are we missing anything? Anything that would be helpful for contractors to know, or maybe a homeowner, a random homeowner is watching this, or somebody is in the roofing space that also is like, I don't know if I want to do insurance. Like, I sell retail, I'm going to go retail. Anything else I need to know about adjusters?
Not
Okay.
that I'm aware of. But just like we treat
Mhm.
the humans, just the homeowner as human.
Yeah.
A lot of times the contractor too already has a chip on their shoulder. And I've come into that many, many times.
What do you mean a chip on their shoulder?
So they've had a bad experience with an adjuster perhaps in the past, right? So they assume all adjusters.
Someone
are
that
the
has
same way.
title adjuster, they felt wronged them or something.
Correct.
And so they bring that attitude.
Correct. Or they've heard stories about, so they come.
Or they've watched the videos.
Or they've watched the videos. There you
they've
go.
watched the videos we're talking about where
with the
like,
meta
people
glasses and
screaming.
then people
Yeah.
screaming, and people taking away the ladder and leaving somebody stranded on the roof.
What's the deal with that? Taking away ladders? Is there
So-
like legality for you not like you using your own ladder or something, or what's
So
going on there?
technically, the legality is if you climb my ladder, supposedly, and you fell off, and the liability's
Liabilities.
on me
okay.
for. I've never had a problem with it, but there are a lot that do that are stickler about that, and that goes both ways, contractor and adjuster. The one thing I would ask is if you are a contractor or an adjuster, just ask permission. Hey, do you mind if I use a ladder? Yeah, I do. Then put yours up. Not
Yeah.
a big deal.
Because at the end of the day, if you're inspecting in general, you should have a ladder on
You
your truck.
should.
Yeah. You should not be out here thinking you're going to climb the gutters or something else, or stand on the
The
pergola.
TV antenna. And
Yeah.
jump from there. Right.
Stand on the pergola and get up on the roof, like climb up the pole.
Correct.
Crazy.
Yep. So just common courtesy.
Okay. So adjusters, feels like we're good on that. How to make sure you're not in a screaming match, which I think is interesting. It's the inverse there, right? Can't really speak for anyone else's experience because we haven't been there, but this is
Correct.
how you've insured over 14,000 and never had that happen.
Never had it
Which I
happen.
think is extremely important, right? And then we talk about expectations in general. You've got an intro. So in that intro, are you telling them your experience, how many you've done, any of that kind of stuff, or how
No.
deep are you going?
It's very shallow on that intro. Just who I am, who I'm representing. This is kind of what expectations
Yep.
that you should have of me, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Obviously, you're explaining the process probably the same way, and then fielding questions before you
Correct.
start the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason I do this is because, again, we went over the whole video of the hail, and I also told you I'm very, very specific. I do everything in order. Most of the time, a lot of the times, the homeowner, they want to grab your hand and show you this, and they take you to the left side of the house, and then take you to the backyard to the fence, and then they take you to the front, and they show me the tree that was. That doesn't work for my process. So what I do is I'm like, out of respect, let me do my job in the order that I do. And I said, I'll go over with you what I did find. If you feel I missed anything, then let's go over your list as well.
Right on. Okay. So explaining that process so you can set frame, you can work your process
Correct.
the same way, but also you don't just disregard what they believe is important to them.
100%.
Okay. So we do that. Then you work the process. And then potentially after the process work, you are then going through their list, right? And
Yep.
so, it's their plus theirs, right? And then you're going to sit down and go over
Correct.
what you found, not your recommendation, but just like,
Correct.
here's what Here's the
This is what I documented.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I actually catch more things than they even saw.
Yeah.
But because I want to make sure that I documented everything that I saw, but then also to address any concerns that they might have. And sometimes I might have missed something. We're human.
Yeah.
And which also brings up, if we go back to the contractor adjuster, most of the time adjusters don't want you just to point out everything. If you're on the roof with me, let me find my own, because I have to document it. Okay. But a lot of times I will ask the contractor, two sets of eyes are better than one. Why don't you come up here and let's look at this together?
Yeah.
You know,
is every adjuster that you know personally as willing to do that, or most not, because that feels weird?
I think every adjuster the adjusters are kind of a segregated world. We don't really mix and match that often, but the ones that I have run into, they do it the same way I do.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else we're missing about working the process for an inspection here?
No.
Anything else that would be helpful for a contractor working their own inspection, even maybe not at the meeting where you're at or an adjuster's at, but to inspect appropriately with the understanding that insurance may be where they're going?
I think what works for me, as I say, would work for the contractor to be very specific and have a very specific inspection and follow it every time to the letter. That way you're not going to miss it. Even though I've done at 9,000 claims, I didn't stop. There's no gutters, for example. I'm still taking a picture of where the gutter should have been.
Yeah.
Just because, believe it or not, on the next claim where there is a gutter, if I've skipped it on the previous one, just human nature, then you start missing it.
Yeah. You may forget it on the next one when there are gutters, and then you're like, oh crap.
Gutters, of course, is
yeah.
But you get the idea of right. If we start to how we do one thing is how we do everything, right?
Yeah.
So if we do everything deliberate and focused, then it's going to show through.
Yeah, the more that you can have continuity of your process,
Exactly.
and doing the same thing the same way every single time on a kind of like a 1 to whatever numbered checklist yourself.
Correct.
Is the way to ensure that you have consistent results. Fair. Now that we've looked at what macro conditions are kind of making the case for insurance, I want to roll through what roofing company specifics people should be aware of, and I'm kind of going to give you the floor to that. I'm going to flip to where we have an empty page here, and we'll go into the second one. The case for insurance, section 2, right?
I truly believe that from where I'm coming from, that the roofing company insurance will always have a place.
How can you be so sure?
Do you own a car?
Yes.
Are you forced to carry insurance?
Yeah, if I want to drive on the road.
Exactly. Same thing with with a home, right?
Cool.
So we're forced to have that.
And be
insurance.
forced to hold insurance.
Exactly.
Okay.
And especially if there's a mortgage on it, right? So if you let that lapse, then you have forced place insurance.
Yeah, that insurance too. If you have a mortgage or you have a loan for whatever you've purchased, it's actually way higher too, because it's got to cover the full investment.
And way lower type of coverage.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yes, insurance is staying around. Whether people like to hear that or not, it's here for the long haul. Now, let's kind of break down on how do roofing companies need to evolve. Just like everything else in life, we have to evolve, right?
Yep.
I think I mentioned earlier that when I first started, we had mainly RCV type policies and a $500 deductible, right?
Yep. So it was RCV historic with
and low
about, let's say like 500.
low deductible. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say like 500.
500 to 1,000,
Yeah,
but yes,
fine.
historically low. So, and I don't want to put any contractor down, but a lot of times is more of an order taker, right? They help
Their sales process is just like, hey, you only have this. It's only going to cost you this. What do you want?
We'll do it for that amount. You know, let's call it in. Let's get it covered. We'll cover your roof for you. All you have to do is pay the deductible, and we'll take care of the rest.
Okay. Yep.
Or, like we've also seen, a lot of times they'll eat the deductible. That's a whole other story.
Which is legal or illegal?
It's illegal.
Okay. Not allowed to do that in all 50 states?
In all 50 states.
Okay. Not allowed to eat deductible. Did you hear that, guys? All of you that are saying we'll cover your deductible, you're not allowed to do that. Somehow you still do it, but you're not allowed to do that legally.
Exactly. And then they get creative, right? So, and here's my point. So the roofing companies, they get very creative. They're like, well, we'll put a sign out front for X amount of days and we'll give you a $500 marketing fee, which ironically is just what your deductible is. If you're that creative, then let's find all other ways to be creative and evolve to work with the insurance companies and the homeowner.
And that's what I would just be an order taker.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So selling on value. How do you sell on value though in insurance?
So first of all, you're going to sell yourself.
Okay.
People are not going to buy from somebody that they don't like.
Yep.
I really don't want to get into a whole selling. That's a whole other, and you've had some great people people on your masterclass that teach how to sell. So I'll leave that to
Yeah,
them.
that's fine. But there's a specific process though,
Correct.
or there's a specific angle of how you can still sell yourself. Because I think the majority of the assumption is that if you're insurance, you're still just an order taker, and you're only an order taker.
You're 100% correct. Right. So educate yourself.
Okay.
Right. So, and how do we educate ourselves? So a lot of times now we're talking higher deductibles. Right? We're talking ACV policies. So it doesn't cover as much. So how do we help that homeowner?
Yep.
Well, some homeowners might be able to write a check for it. Most of them need to finance.
Now, when you say that you need to educate yourself on what?
Financing options.
Financing options, other ways to take care of this financially.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So educate yourself there.
Also educate yourself on the sales process. You're not an order taker anymore.
Okay.
So how do you build that value? How do you build, why are they going to say yes to you? Right. So educate yourself, spend time and money on yourself, learn the process. It is a different world than it was 10 years ago. You have to evolve or you're not going to be in the business anymore.
Okay. You have to evolve obviously in business in general, but
Yes.
you have to evolve specifically with the insurance process because it's changing, because policies are different, adjusters are doing different things, legality, ethic, like things are moving.
Things are moving.
Okay.
Yes.
So we need to figure out how we can not be order takers.
Correct.
Right? We need to sell on value, which is damn near in a lot of ways not typically done in insurance. For most insurance.
It never used to be. Never didn't need to be.
Well, it didn't have to be because you had this.
Correct.
And you had this. And
Correct.
so you could just like, hey, what color do you want? We can do it
That's
next
pretty,
week.
you're 100% right.
They're going to cut it. They're going to cut the check while they're sitting here today.
Exactly.
Okay. So we're doing that. Obviously, there's financing. There's multi-lender. You can go a marketplace. You can work with just one. You can work with someone local. Like some ability to monetarily help homeowners get it done.
And be able to know what the options are to present that to the homeowner. So
being consultative, again, like you have to be on retail because you're having to pay full fare for the whole thing.
Because I want the contractor to realize that they might replace the roof once, maybe twice in their lifetime. Again, you're coming in, you are knowledgeable. They're looking to you for the answers. Just like they look to me for the answers as an adjuster, you have to educate yourself to know what those are, offer those options.
Must be subject matter expert.
Yes.
So must be a SME. In financing and selling, must be also a SME in insurance, must be able to read a policy, must be able to understand the process.
100%. So one of the parts of the sales process is sitting down with that homeowner, asking to see that policy, and then being able to look at, first of all, you need to know what you're dealing with, right? Is it RCV? Is it ACV? Do you have the RPS, the roof payment schedules? What is their deductible? Do they have the cosmetic exclusion or the wind and hail exclusion? All of that comes into play.
That and the RPS endorsements, yeah?
Correct.
Those are what they're called, like basically across the board. What endorsements affix to this? It's like an addendum kind of thing?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Policy, and then you have endorsements that are extra things that are kind of...
You'll see all the endorsements listed under the endorsement policy page. Okay. Correct.
Yep.
So take the time and learn that because it is your job to educate the homeowner of what to expect in the next steps, until the roof's done. So taking the time, and then because if it's wind and hail exclusion, like you and I mentioned earlier, and it is a wind and hail claim, there's no sense in calling it in.
Yeah.
And creating that. I like to liken it to when a roof claim is filed, it's almost like a credit inquiry, right? The more credit inquiries you
hard
have,
pull, not soft pull. Hard pull.
Thank you. A hard pull. The more hard pulls you have, it does lower your credit score, correctly? Correct? Yep. So the same thing with the more claims you have, the higher your premiums are going to be, whether it was a claim that actually paid out or not.
So if it's Remko's insurance company, and you're not an adjuster in this example, it's Remko's insurance company and it's James's insurance company, and we are both Remko Insurance and James Insurance. And Avery is filing a claim with you. Whether it's going to work or not, files a claim with you, then decides to get on James Insurance.
Correct.
Down the road, even though filed with you,
James Insurance is aware of that claim.
Aware of the filing, and therefore is going to charge you a higher premium just by filing.
Correct.
Okay. And it's interesting.
And I shouldn't say just one claim, right? It's not just one.
But
most of the time,
history,
correct.
A history of behavior of continuing to do things like that.
Thank you. Yep.
Then shows us similar to using health insurance, where you're like, you go to the doctor all the time, or you get in car accidents all the time. Like we know we're going to have to spend more money on you.
Or instead of going to urgent care, you go to the ER every time.
Go to the ER when you have.
For a sneeze when you could have waited to the doctor.
You got the flu. You need to go to urgent care. Like,
Right.
what are you doing?
Right.
Just get some medicine and keep it moving.
Exactly.
Go see a PA or what have you. Don't go to the ED. That's crazy.
Right.
But because you have a history of that plays account here.
Yes.
On the homeowner's insurance. And so the more that you do that, the more you're setting someone up to pay higher no matter where they go.
Exactly. It affects their insurance profile, if you will.
Yeah, that follows them.
Correct.
It doesn't go away.
Right.
Okay. What else do roofing company owners or roofing sales reps, roofing inspectors, or regardless of where you're at in the process, on the roofing company side, need to know?
Make sure there's damage.
That there's actually a reason
to call. Right. Document.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that, and I would love to give you guys
is it
the
verification of damage, or is it making sure there actually is damage?
Make sure there's actually is damage and that it matches, right? And what I mean by matches is you could see damage, but it's also easy to see if it's old damage.
Okay.
There's something else that comes into play.
Okay.
All right. So let's take a hail hit.
Yep.
So it's going to be the absence of granules on the hit itself.
Yep.
Okay. If it gets old, what we start to see is we start to see spidering with the fiberglass in the shingle.
Underneath it,
Correct.
where the hit was.
And it becomes more and more pronounced.
Got it,
Okay.
because it's breaking up. Because
Correct.
there's
And the weathering in the sun.
the sun's hitting it, there's UV damage, there's all kind of stuff. So like you're going to start to see that separation underneath.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That wouldn't happen if the hail hit last week. That wouldn't
100%.
happen if the hail hit last month.
Right.
It's going to be, you need sun exposure, a lot of sun exposure for a decent amount of time
Correct.
for that to be the case.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. So make sure that but work with the customer,
Yep.
educate them. Okay. So yes, you're not allowed to call it in, but make sure they know what to say when they do call it in.
What language to use,
What language
what
to
to speak
use.
about.
So there's two things that we always hear about: COL and DOL.
Okay.
Okay. COL is cause of loss.
Okay. COL. All right. COL. That's cause. And DOL is date.
Date, exactly. Date of loss.
Oh, yeah.
And why it's so important is the homeowner might, let's say the storm hit today, you kind of look up, you don't see anything, and then you're mowing your backyard a week from now, and you look back and you can see more to the roof,
Yeah.
and you see shingles missing, for example. So then you take it upon yourself to call the insurance company, "Yeah, I got missing shingles. When was it?" "Well, I noticed it today." So that becomes the date of loss. But what also happens is the insurance company is going to look at weather patterns such as wind gust or hail in that area on that specific day. So make counseling with the homeowner to make sure that the COL and the DOL will match with the weather conditions at that time when it gets called in is very, very important.
And this is something that if you don't pay attention to, then you may unintentionally have them file for something that's not going to get covered.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So it's more of a verification to make sure that y'all are within the appropriate things that will be covered. And it's not just you saying like, just call it in.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And then also, and one thing I would suggest to the contractor too is if it is wind or hail, make sure they call it in for wind and hail.
Okay. If you're not entirely sure which one it is, or you know
Correct.
which one of them, put it in for both.
For both.
Okay.
Always call. If it's hail, call it in for wind and hail. If it's wind, call it in for wind and hail.
Okay.
All right. Those
Yeah.
two a lot of times go hand in hand. And sometimes it is easier to prove damage on one or the other.
Okay. And so when you do that, that best serves homeowner, and it lets insurance company know that it could be both.
Correct.
And so they're looking for signs of both. And maybe it's just one at the end of the day.
Correct.
But they're looking at both. And so it's not with the presupposition that, no, this is only hail. I see no hail, but there's all this other stuff.
Exactly. Because a hail event hardly ever happens without wind.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Right.
So they're typically together.
Correct.
And that's why the endorsement is wind and hail. Yeah.
You got it.
Got it. Okay. What else do roofing companies need to understand about this process? And we're still building the case for even caring about insurance, because there's a lot of people in the industry that say you don't need to do insurance, or you need to do insurance as retail, or there's another way you need to handle insurance. But what else are we missing on the roofing side?
Can I tell you a little quick story?
Yeah.
If you don't mind. So my father is turning 89 this year.
Okay.
2 years ago, he filed his first claim on a roof.
Okay.
Okay. First claim. Do you think that
87?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Do you think that didn't hold his hand and work through the insurance company process with him?
I would say that you would be really interesting to not work through that with him with the amount of experience you have.
Correct. So if you really care, again, we go back to caring for that homeowner. If you really care about them, this is most of the time is the first claim that they filed. You should have done this more than once, or at least have a mentor in the business that has done it more than once.
Yep.
You become that subject matter expert, right?
Okay.
You need to hold their hand through that process. They have no clue what's going on. My 87-year-old father sure didn't. So he has no idea. If there was an RPS, what does that mean? If there's a deductible, what does that mean? How does that work? What is this endorsement? They have no idea. They've never read that policy. And even if they've read the policy, they don't understand, right?
Yeah.
So holding their hand through that process, because no matter what, even if they're only getting $3,000 on a $24,000 job on an ACV, that's still $3,000 less out of their pocket than they would have had to come up with.
Yeah. It's going to cost them.
It's going to cost them.
Regardless.
Right.
Okay. So if I hear you correctly, you're saying no matter what anyone says, if you understand the insurance process appropriately and you've done the work to become the subject matter expert, the thing that best serves the homeowner is for you to hold their hand through this process.
100%. They paid for insurance for a reason, did they not?
Okay.
They paid for coverage, right?
Okay.
So instead of abandoning them, during that process, let's hold their hand. Let's work with them to make sure that they do get everything that they should get. They've paid enough money for that.
And if a roofer says, hey, I'm just a roofer, I'm not an insurance person.
If that had happened to my father, I would have told him to get another roofer.
Interesting. Okay. So you would say then potentially that a roofer that is not willing to be the subject matter expert, not willing to walk them through this process, is not a roofer that you should be trusting.
My family member, I would tell them to find another roofer.
Okay. For your own family.
Exactly.
Okay. I see the line you're towing there, sir. I hear you. So now that we know what it looks like in the industry and what's changing with weather and carriers and dropping and changing this kind of policy, that kind of policy, these endorsements, and we also know what a roofer needs to be paying attention to be that subject matter expert. What I want to look at is, and my handwriting is horrible here, Remko, what I want to look at here is why this makes sense monetarily to actually do insurance in a time where most people say, hey, you're going to make more money in retail. You're not just going to have to wait for this check and that check. What is the case monetarily to do insurance?
So, and here's a disclaimer. I don't own a roofing company.
If you didn't know, now you know. Okay, so you don't own a roofing company.
I do not.
Yep.
But let's go back to retail versus insurance.
Okay.
Okay,
yep.
So let's go back to my father 2 years ago. And James, you are retail only.
Okay.
You show up to my father and you ask him for a check for the $14,000 to replace the roof.
Yeah. Or I'll take $245 a month for the next 86 months. Like, cool.
Exactly.
One of the two. Yeah.
Or myself, I'm going to hold your hand. We're going to get you as much as possible.
Okay. We're going to get you as much off where you don't have to pay.
Correct.
As possible.
I'm going to get you as much from the insurance company as possible.
I'm going to get you as close as I can.
Correct.
To not coming out of pocket.
Exactly. And so whatever I help you get, that's just less out of pocket or lower monthly payment.
Okay. So you're saying the case for this is it's in the interest of homeowner.
Yes.
To lower out of pocket expense. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Common sense, correct?
Yeah.
So if I'm able to help my father do that and you just want to offer him a certain payment or write a check, and then I'll give you the estimate and you can work, on the insurance company on your own, even though you've never done it before. In my opinion, who do you think is going to get more referrals?
I mean, I would say that you're absolutely biased, and as am I, a different direction. So I would say you're going to get more referrals, helping them through the process where their out-of-pocket expense is lower. But the pushback that I would look at here is like, if you finance this, is that really more money out of their pocket? If you finance it on retail or you finance it on insurance, like, is it going to be more money out of their pocket?
Are you saying because then they have to find it on their own, correct? Is that what?
Well, I'm saying that like at the end of the day, if you finance it, so there's a difference, like cash out of pocket. So total cash out of pocket versus cash out of pocket today. They hit different constraints. One is I don't have cash on hand. And so like I don't have the ability to do that. So I can't do this. But financing serves both insurance and retail in the fact that you're going to pay more because there's, a percentage you have to pay on top.
Correct.
And so then you have principal and
interest.
You have both. But it doesn't constrain cash flow short run.
You are correct. You are correct. However, if you had also, again, going back to that example with my father, if you had helped him get 10 grand, through that process, that would have lowered his payment.
Let's work this on a real roof. Let's say it's 14. Let's say the roof all in, it's going to be, let's even go like maybe 18K.
Okay.
So let's go 18,000. And let's say there's that. You're saying that if you could get him X amount of dollars off, you get the 10K off, he's going to be in a better position to finance the 8.
Correct.
As opposed to just going ahead and financing the 18.
Correct. It's going to be a lower payment, is it not?
It's going to be a lower payment, but how much more work is it going to be?
For whom?
For anyone involved.
It's going to be a little bit more work for the contractor to make sure that they are holding their hand through that whole process. Might be a supplement process, and that's a whole other discussion, correct?
Okay, yep.
But if we're really in it for the homeowner's best interest, they're going to hold their hand through the process.
They're going to hold their hand through the process so that at the end of the day, they've got to come up with 10, where on my example, I got to come up with 18.
Correct.
I'm going to get you $245 a month for X amount of months, and you're saying, hey, I could actually still get you financing, and we're not doing the math here because...
Understood, right.
But I could get you a $245 payment, maybe you could get me a $125 payment.
Correct.
And you're saying that the $125 payment better supports them.
100%.
What if they have all the money in the world?
And my father was fortunate enough to be able to write that check.
Okay.
Okay. But still, let's actually go, if you don't mind, I'll share another story with you.
Yeah.
So this is actually a good friend of mine. It actually, both of these stories are true. My father actually went and bought a car from him about a month ago. I haven't seen him in 20 years.
Yeah.
Very, very good old acquaintance of mine. He's like, what are you doing now? I'm like, I'm adjusting. And I went through that process with him, and he's like, you're not going to believe this. I need a new roof. This gentleman is very astute.
Okay.
He knew that he had an ACV policy, which is rare.
Yeah.
He knew that, and it was a 50 square roof, which that's a big roof, right?
Tiny house, bro.
Yeah.
Tiny house.
It's 52 square to be exact. And so he knew, he also had the estimate from the carrier, and he knew he was going to get $16,000.
Okay, all in.
All in.
Carrier's going to give him 16K.
He already got it.
Yeah. Okay,
So
he had it.
He had it. But the original estimate was $33,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Now he knows he's got to come up with the difference between what he received and the difference of what that roof's going to cost.
Yeah.
So he asked me to, can you take a look at it, see what you think? He talked to contractor A. Contractor A came out and they took the shortcut. They're like, we'll do your roof for whatever the insurance company agreed to, that it's worth. Basically inferring the $33,000.
Yeah.
So my friend, he's like, I got to write a check for $17,000.
Yeah.
Correct? Difference between this 16 and 33. Nobody wants to write a big check like that. So he asked roofing contractor B to show up. Roofing contractor B didn't even want to look at the estimate from the insurance company. Took a look at it, and they said, we'll do it for $24,000. I don't know how they were able to do it for $24,000. That's a whole other discussion.
24K. Oh, not 33, 24.
So you had to write a check for $8,000 versus the 17. But they cared. They showed him what they could do it for, and he ended up doing, ended up doing a great job.
Finance it, just write the check.
He wrote the check.
Okay.
But he also wrote a check for 8 versus 17 because the contractor took the time and they didn't have the insurance mindset that we'll just do it for whatever the estimate is going to be. Correct. This is what we think we could do it for.
So they went one step further and said, hey, we can actually do it for less than they're saying this should be.
Correct.
And so you already got the 16. We can do it. We just need this amount of money. And then essentially just endorsing that 16 over to the contractor.
And then adding an additional 8,000.
Okay.
Correct.
Now, what if somebody says on the retail side, and this happens all the time, insurance company gave you 16, but why don't you just finance the 33, take the 16, do whatever the hell you want?
Let the homeowner make that decision. Okay. I mean, that is a great option, right? So if the homeowner is willing to do that and take that 16 and maybe go on that vacation that they've always wanted to take, maybe pay off a high high interest credit card, maybe.
Because maybe they get approved for 4.5 instead of their credit card that's 19.2 or something.
Right. Or their car that's at 8.99.
Yeah.
Right. So educate them. And maybe that is what they want to do. Yeah. Great. Now they have the option. They have the opportunity to do that. And it would actually put them in a better financial position.
Yeah.
If we could save them the money or take that trip that they've wanted or whatever it is. But allow them to make that decision.
Okay. But you're still saying that if we get them closer, regardless, the closer we get, the better we serve them.
Yes.
Okay. And so do you believe that there's an argument that combats getting closer from insurance that you agree with? Or is it always get as much as you can out of insurance within ethics and legality, and then the rest is the best way to go?
Yes. Always. Always.
Okay. How does a roofer have that happen, though? How do you actually ensure that's happening? Especially from the guys that like, hey man, we've run 5 claims, 2 claims, we have 5 locations, we run one claim. Like we then had to like go and supplement down the road. We don't know what the heck is going on. How do you get to a place where you're actually in best service there, as opposed to potentially building evidence to just hand to somebody else?
So, first of all, get on the roof and make sure there's damage.
Okay.
All right. I always joke. It's not really a joke. It's kind of a dig sometimes. I never trust a skinny chef.
Yeah.
And I never trust a roofer that hasn't climbed the roof.
Okay. Yeah. Fair
Right.
enough.
So, and while you're up there, then take the photos to document.
Mhm.
Now, here's the trap that I see that the contractors do fall in. If they're a retail contractor, they don't need a lot of photos to document what they're seeing, correct?
Yeah.
Because they're asking the customer to write a check. They're not having to document damage for the insurance company
Well,
to cover
they're
that.
building value not technically around, hey, there's this amount of loss on here, because that's not the justification they need for them to sell. They need to be able to sell value of them being the contractor to do it, less of, hey, insurance needs to cover this.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So going into it with the wrong mindset.
Yes.
Okay. Wrong mindset.
And
The
I
people
think,
that can't get the 10 off, right? To have them only have the 8.
I think too, the wrong mindset also comes into play. Well, it takes longer for my cash flow.
Okay. Longer for me to get paid.
And that's something.
It takes the contractor way longer.
Mm-hmm.
AR is bigger,
Mhm.
and time to closing the job, get paid and close, is way longer. So maybe on the retail side, you could just finance you could finance the 33K,
Mhm.
right? And you could have that direct to merchant. Maybe you pay 10%.
Correct.
You pay 10% on that because you have to. You pay 3,300
100.
dealer fee,
Mhm.
right?
So you're at 29.7.
Yeah, and so that 29.7 comes to you in 7 to 10 days
Right.
in your in your account.
Correct.
Then why even spend the time to go through that, to have this be 30 days to get the 16 plus the 17?
Can we go back 12 pages? And it's all about treating the human as human and just the empathy there, right? If it was your mother, your father, would
Mhm.
you want them to write the check for 33, or would you want somebody to work with them and try to come up with as much as possible so they can lower that out of pocket?
I would want whatever to happen that would put them in the position where they had to pay less themselves.
Mhm.
But there's a big argument right now.
It is.
There's a big argument that this better serves them
Mhm.
because you close them, they get it faster, they don't have to deal with other people, and then, hey, we'll just give them what they need to go talk to insurance later.
What's always good for me is not necessarily what's always good for the homeowner.
As the contractor,
Correct.
or as the
As,
adjuster
as,
too?
as the contractor.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
What's best for the contractor is not always what's best for
Fair.
the homeowner.
Right. And I truly believe, I've been in sales all my life, and
Yep.
so I truly believe that Zig Ziglar,
Yep.
we get what we want out of life by helping enough people get what they want.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we look at it from that lens,
Mhm.
and we step back for a
Mhm.
moment and stop worrying about me,
Mhm.
how fast can I get paid?
Yeah.
How is it less work for me? What's best for the homeowner, and use that lens.
Mhm.
It's not just for, yes, it's what's best for the homeowner, but then it also will benefit you in the long run because you are going to get the referrals.
So if we were to back this into insurance contracting,
Mhm.
right? 5-star homeowner.
Mhm.
Number one, I would say, is probably get them or run inspection
Correct.
the way that you were talking about. As an adjuster, you try to do it,
Exactly.
which is with all of the expectations set in and all that. Would that be fair?
Yes.
That'd be like number one.
Yes.
Run it like a professional,
Correct.
like an insurance professional,
Mhm.
not, hey, I'm just going to sell and like, here's your financing and see ya. Okay. So it's inspection, insurance professional. Okay. That's
Mhm.
number one. What's number two?
I think we need to really look at the policy,
Okay.
right?
So that first policy, was it policy like unlocking policy?
Yeah, to see what you are dealing with, what the endorsements are, like we've talked about
Mhm.
earlier. Yep.
Yeah. So what would that be like? Policy. What do you call that?
Just policy breakdown, perhaps, or
Policy break. Just
Yeah.
a time to dig in.
dig in with the
Okay.
homeowner. Correct.
Okay. So we run an inspection like an insurance professional.
Mhm.
Like if you, similar to the level of detail and the level of care and the level of intention behind the way you've done it for the last 14,000 plus, they run it to the same professional,
Yep.
to professionalism.
Professional. Yep.
Number two is that you actually know how to understand the policy and then also can break it down to homeowner.
Correct. How to explain it properly as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's breaking this down, digging,
Mhm.
and then it's also explaining,
Yep.
right? Because they need to understand their options.
Mhm.
And then I would guess that number three would be to present options. And that would be,
To the homeowners, what you're saying, like maybe the financing, 100%. Yes.
Here's the endorsements of
Yep.
it. Here's what your policy says. Here's the numbers you need to know. Here's what this means. Here's essentially, as you sit here, here's what it looks like.
Now, it is a little difficult to do that at this time.
Yep. Okay.
Because we don't know what the insurance company is going to pay yet.
Okay.
Do
You don't have that information from them yet.
Exactly.
Okay.
So maybe swap this out and put 3. I would put down, really educate them before they call in to claim, if there is a claim to be called in. But we're just...
Okay. Yeah. So we'll go present options different. We'll educate before claim call in. And then number 4 would be claim call in if actual damage.
Correct.
And so would it be fair to say that if you get to number 3 and there's not damage, that you can go ahead and treat this as retail from there?
Correct.
Okay.
100%.
So get through number 3.
Yes.
And if you were thinking about insurance, but there's no damage to actually file a claim,
correct,
then here's where you need to deviate.
Great point.
And move
absolutely
to retail.
Yep.
Even if you're still going to do documentation as if you're an insurance professional.
Exactly.
Even if you're going to still do everything like this to the level that you would need to prove, you're still going to be in a spot where if there's not there, it's kind of where it stops.
This is your option. It's retail. Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And so maybe that's a scenario where if it's 33, you say you can just finance the whole thing because we don't have an ability to get this covered.
Yeah.
Or the probability that this gets covered is like here
zero,
because we don't have proof to say that that's the case.
Yes.
Okay. So you're not anti-retail.
No, not at all.
Not anti-retail at all. And in fact, if you work the process appropriately and it doesn't fit, then it's not a shoe that Cinderella needs to wear and we need to go a different direction.
I think retail will, if you are specialized in retail, your sales abilities are sharpened and you have really become a subject matter expert because you're not just an order taker anymore. If you do it correctly, you've taken the time to educate yourself and then you're able to offer different options to the homeowner and let them pick, right? So I think that somebody truly has to be a good retail salesperson and still be able to sell insurance, and that allows them to fill in the gap. If you have just a salesperson or just an order taker that just follows storm traces and they don't know how to do retail, they don't know how to offer those other options for the financing, they're going to lose business too.
Okay. So someone that can be adaptable, can do both, that understands the insurance process, can run it like an insurance professional, knows where to break away and go retail if need be, but can also work this if it's in the best interest of
the homeowner. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bow, dude.
Yeah.
That's a very good bow. And I like the split down to you're not like you live insurance, but you're by no means anti-retail.
Absolutely.
And you're by no means retail is bad.
Absolutely
it's
not.
Just if the insurance process will serve the homeowner better, it needs to be worked to the fullest extent that it can be.
Correct.
Prior to trying to go and just finance the whole thing.
Exactly.
Fair?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that kind of takes me in another thing that I think is going to put you in like an interesting spot.
Okay.
You know?
Let's go for it.
It's something that I think the premise here is that there is insurance damage. Okay. Yep. So let's say that's the premise. I'm actually going to give you a few premises because I think it's important because it's a specific case where I'm curious kind of how you view this. Let's say they have policy to work with. Okay. Which means it's a policy that they have some ability to do something here.
Yep. And
they have damage. Okay. So they have something that actually can be used
to substantiate.
Yep.
Yes.
So both of those are true.
Yes.
We have 2 ways that people typically do this.
Okay.
Right? There's a pretty big split in the middle of the industry. You have people running insurance straight out, like we've been talking about, and doing it professionally. And well, most of them are just doing it as order takers.
Understood.
But the way that they could be doing it is full there. And then you have insurance as retail. Okay. Yep. So you have those 2 things.
Yep.
Now, with these premises, there's damage that substantiates the claim, the policy to work within, you have documentation, you did the whole 9. In what scenarios is insurance as retail still going to best support the homeowner? Never. Expand on that.
So, first of all, if you are just insurance, you're going to be out of business in no time if you don't know the different options. And maybe I'm not understanding your question.
No, you understand that.
Okay.
Because it's within these parameters.
If it's within those parameters.
Because we saw at 3, you're cool with retail if there's not damage to substantiate a claim that can actually be worked within your
Did the customer pay for insurance premiums for X amount of years?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why are they paying for it?
So they have coverage.
Now we are in a situation where they need the coverage.
Yeah, and they paid into it for 10 years, 15 years.
But they don't know what to do because they've never filed a claim before.
Okay.
Why aren't we taking the time to take them through and reap the benefit for that premium that they've paid for 10 years?
Okay. That they're owed.
That they're owed, 100%.
Because they're also within...
You're exactly right. Because like you stated, both of these are accurate. They do have a policy to work with, and there is damage.
Okay.
So why do we abandon them to work with the insurance company on their own and just ask for a check or financing versus holding their hand through that process and making sure they maximize that insurance claim so it's less money out of pocket, less or lower monthly payments? They're still, in today's day and age, they're going to have to come out of pocket for money.
Mm-hmm. They're going to have to.
They're going to have to.
There's really no way with the deductibles where they're at, with the endorsements and all the
ACV
exclusions, and like,
yes.
wow, this is what this is, and this fee schedule, like you're gonna pay money.
You should have paid money 10 years ago, even with a $500 deductible.
Yeah.
But yes, the homeowner's always going to have to come out of pocket some way. So how do we lessen that financial blow to them?
Okay. So let's walk through this structure real quick. Yep. Insurance would be that you as roofing contractor, every step of way, assuming, remember, both people are working this to the professionalism that you should, with photos, what have you. So, and this was kind of like, this was me getting you to essentially say, hey, this doesn't work. Now, I'd like to unpack this, though, because a lot of people are doing this. A lot of people in the industry are doing this.
They are.
And they're making a lot of money doing it, and people are getting roofs replaced doing it. Now, it's really like a heavy dependency on financing, of course, because, they're like, hey, we paid all this money, but like, you're not paying $50,000 for the roof. You're paying $248 a month or $340. You're paying like a tiny car payment on a Corolla or a Camry or something. You're paying that kind of money. You're typically not paying, you're not paying for a Rolls Royce monthly fee. But let's say the insurance side, you're holding their hands the whole step of the way. Let's say you do just as professional, but then we finance first, right? So that's one. And then we hand off info to homeowner for insurance company. Okay. Can this not work?
It can. I'm not saying it doesn't work.
So it does work.
It does work, but it doesn't work as effectively. It's not pulling every dollar out. So again, I'm an adjuster, correct?
Yep.
I'm human. I miss things.
Yep.
Okay. There's a lot of times that I don't even see something because I'm not there during production. I'm not seeing what's underneath the shingles. I'm not seeing, and I just completely miss something. So that's never going to be in my estimate. The homeowner is unaware of what should be paid for, what shouldn't, maybe steep and high charges. Maybe there's double layers or triple layers on the shingle. The homeowner doesn't know that. The homeowner doesn't know that the high profile metal valleys should have been replaced versus a shingle over, or that code should be ice and water and they have code and it wasn't included. They have no idea on that. There as a contract.
Too many intricacies for subject matter expertise that's needed that a homeowner has never spent any time doing.
Never.
Okay.
Never. Perfect example is this. So we all know ice and water is very expensive compared to felt, correct? So if you look at the overhang or your soffit, we have to have 2 foot on the interior for ice and water. That's code. So if you are 12 inches or higher or greater on the overhang or soffit, right? Then you actually need what? You need two layers of that ice and water to make sure that you have the 2 foot on the interior.
Yeah.
If I don't have a picture to prove that, if the insurance adjuster didn't write for it because he missed it, or maybe he's in a rule said it shouldn't be written for, those are the type of things that should be added to make sure that maximizes that insurance claim for the homeowner.
Appropriately maximizes it within what should be maximized.
Correct.
Because it's what needs to be put in. It's not 100%. Because a contractor said it should.
Correct.
But it needs to.
We're not throwing a porta potty in for 3 days every time we put on a new roof. No, these are things that can be documented that should be covered.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So assuming that happens, you would say that the handoff of the information to homeowners is not as good of a process as this.
Correct.
because of approval
Mhm.
and comprehensiveness?
Correct.
Okay. Does that come down to the documentation quality of photos? Or does that come down to something else?
It is quality photos. It's making sure, because if we don't have a photo of it, of something damaged, it doesn't exist.
Okay.
It can't be covered.
Yep.
Okay. So the photo documentation is extremely important,
Mhm.
but then also the writing of the estimate and make sure that it's comprehensive. A lot of times too, they're handing this off even before production happened.
Yeah.
During production, you see a lot.
They're essentially giving it to them. They're taking the financing, they're rocking and rolling, and they're just handing this to them, but it's everything pre-production.
All right, let's back up for a second. I don't know if you're aware, but the national average is on supplementing, right?
Okay.
Let's just take that for
Yeah.
example. 34.9% increase.
Okay.
If you're not holding their hand and working with them through that process, who ate that 34.9 loss? Who ate it? Not you.
Homeowner. Yeah.
You got your check.
Yeah. You got your money.
You got your
financed
money.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. So who ate it?
Homeowner.
Okay. If
They
that
didn't get money back on that, so then they're still in that monthly at the APR that they had
right.
for the total amount.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Okay. I think the dollar average, the national average is 4,200. If you don't help, if they don't know that, and you can't help them fight to get all that, who
Yeah.
ate it? Not you.
Yeah. Homeowner.
Yeah.
Is there an approval percent difference if contractor is helping this appropriately versus them? Like, not let's take out supplementing for a second. Let's say no supplements are going to be done on either,
Sure.
just like in a vacuum on
yeah.
purpose.
Okay.
Approval,
Mhm.
right, with a contractor that's actually helping
Mhm.
versus handing documentation after we've already torn the daggum thing off and put something else new on, and you've already paid for it.
Mhm.
Is there a big swing percentage wise?
I don't know. So I don't want to say.
Yeah, don't know. Okay, cool. Anything else that people are missing in this process potentially? I'll be at a different perspective than most because of the amount of insurance work that you do.
Right.
Okay, but I think that this is an important distinction because these are really two different ways. There's a point that we get to, and these are two separate offshoots.
They are. And again, retail is extremely important, but make sure that we do all the correct steps ahead of time and prior to that,
Mhm.
and to make sure that we do take care of that homeowner.
Cool. One other thing that I think is extremely important for us to note here when
Mhm.
we're talking about insurance is retail, or insurance. Number one, retail is not bad.
It's not.
Retail needs to be understood, and
Yes.
you're actually going to be better at sales if you understand retail. Insurance
It's not bad.
It's also not going away.
Correct.
Insurance as retail is also not bad.
Mhm.
However, you stated that it's in best service of the homeowner to help them with the insurance process, assuming that they have damage. We work the process like a professional. There's a policy to work within, and they have damage. You need to go this and fight for them to the end, and then we can look at financing options or what have you there.
Correct.
The caveat that I want to put that you and I were just ripping on
Mhm.
is also that if you are, as a roofing contractor, deciding that you're not going to become a subject matter expert for insurance, then
No.
at maximum, you need to go insurance as retail. Maximum.
100%.
And most of your job is probably just going to be just retail.
Correct.
Because if you're not going to work this appropriately, professionally, in the way that best serves them, well, then you better just stick to anything retail anyways.
You're doing a disservice anyway. Correct. And some of the things that, becoming that subject matter expert, if you don't know how to read that policy, if you don't know how to explain it, if you don't know how to, all the other steps that we mentioned earlier, then stay in your lane. And if that's retail, it's retail. Correct. And vice versa.
Yep. And so whether you do insurance, whether you do retail, or whether you do retail as insurance,
Mhm.
you need to be a master of the art.
Correct.
Regardless.
Right.
You need to be reading. You need to be watching. You need to be understanding. You need to be building your skill
Correct.
in them. And so there's a bunch of ways to skin the cat
Mhm.
in your head.
Mhm.
Insurance all the way through from stem to stern is the way to go first if you're going to be the subject matter expert.
Exactly. That's key.
Okay. Without that, we're talking about a whole different thing.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what I would be curious to know is from your perspective, what will make someone an insurance SME? What are the steps to that?
So,
From a roofing contractor's perspective.
Sure. Take the time, learn what a policy is, learn what endorsements are.
Yep. So we got policy and endorsements. Yeah. What else?
Learn how to explain it to the customer, because unfortunately their insurance agent did not. I shouldn't pick on insurance agents that much because a lot of times people buy their insurance online.
Yeah.
right? And it's not face to face in a brick and mortar anymore.
Yep.
It used to be that way, right? So their business has evolved as well. So a lot of times it is online, and you don't have that face to face communication.
Would you say that's fair?
Yes, layman terms, absolutely.
To the best of your ability.
Correct.
As simple as possible, right? The acronym, right?
Yes, exactly.
But it's not always keep. Sometimes it's miss. Make it simple.
Exactly.
You got to make it instead
Fair.
of just keep
I like
it,
that,
right?
actually. Yeah. It's the first time I've seen that.
Layman's terms.
Yes.
So understand policy, understand endorsements, and more structurally, state by state, just where you're at in general. What would be your recommendation there?
Wherever you're selling. So if you are a
Well, what if I want to sell as a franchise everywhere in the nation, but I'm only currently in Tampa?
Then know your Tampa, know your Florida. Now, if you are chasing
Florida,
no Tampa, because there are different building codes as well.
Yeah.
And when I talk about endorsements too, this is important too. This is an important endorsement that I don't think we mentioned. Code upgrades.
Code upgrades. What does that mean?
Very. Let's go with a house up north. Okay. Or anytime we have freezing, ice and water. Okay. So it is now building code for, I think everywhere, that if you're in that environment or that climate, that you have to have the ice and water on. Okay. If you do not have it on now, on the new roof that gets installed, the code upgrade is make sure that that's on there.
Even if it wasn't on the one that got tore off?
Even if it was not on the one, it's got to be on there.
Okay.
Correct. So not everybody has code upgrade on their policy.
Okay. It's a policy specific thing too.
Correct. It's another endorsement.
Okay.
Is the thickness of the decking, the sheathing, with the rafter spacing.
Yep.
Right. Has that code been changed since that house was built? Is it no longer under code? Do we look at that? And that right there, going back to insurance versus retail, decking, of course, is very expensive, right? And as we do production, if they didn't climb in the attic and run the tape on the off center on the rafters to see what kind of thickness it should be on that decking, and they start to do that during production, and they're like, oh crap, it's not the right decking. We've got to redeck this thing. That has to be made sure that that's documented properly.
Yeah.
So those are, versus just increasing out of pocket to the customer.
Yeah.
So
we got policy, we got endorsements. Now the code upgrades. If a policy doesn't have code upgrades, because that is an endorsement, yeah. So if that's not an endorsement that's there, but in that state, city, what have you, state, city, county, whatever, they have things that have to be there.
Correct.
What happens? The
customer comes out of pocket on that.
Really?
Yeah.
Comes out of pocket because they have to be to code for building permits and what have you.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay. Is there a way to fight that with the insurance companies if you don't have that endorsement, but you have a ton of stuff? No. Zero.
If it says, if it's specifically no code upgrade, yeah, you are coming out of pocket.
Wow. And you can't be insured without coming back up to code? Not supposed to be able to?
Not supposed to be. Correct. And it's not going to get approved with if it's not done properly, and et cetera, et cetera. Yep.
And so it's going to be, you go to try to pull a permit, you might run into some problems where they're like,
exactly.
Hey guys, here's what's going on.
Right.
So we've got policy understanding, we've got endorsement understanding, obviously ACV, RCV, recoverable depreciation, et cetera. Be able to translate that to layman's terms for the homeowner.
Correct.
And probably to your team so that they can explain it.
Yeah.
Training internal. I would say that, and ask you, but I would say that this is probably like all of these things, training internal, right? Yep. So you're an expert on policy. You have the ability to communicate it. You're training your team on just those things. What else?
You better be a damn good photographer as well.
Damn good photographer. Let's go.
And we're not talking JCPenney photography. We're talking about very specific, and we could get into that if you'd like.
Absolutely. Okay. But let's I think that's kind of the most interesting one to me of this list so far. But so we got these four things. What else? We
got to be able to communicate with the insurance company, right? And
how does that differ from talking to understanding this or talking to the
So first of all, when again, we're going to educate the customer, like we mentioned earlier, on how to call it in.
Because we're not calling it in because you're not allowed to.
Correct.
Cool.
Then we're going to meet the adjuster.
Yep. We're going to meet the adjuster.
Yes. On the inspection.
Yep.
Make sure it's done.
Amazing.
And done properly.
Yep.
And then we're also going to take a look because there are things going to be missing.
Okay. Because
Right.
we're human.
We're
And
human.
it's not really like Remko sucks or James sucks or Remko's awesome or Avery's amazing. It's like we're human.
We
And
are.
so we've got to make sure that if you're looking at it with a fine tooth comb, I'm looking at it with a fine tooth comb as a contractor.
Correct.
And we're both at least having a conversation about what we're seeing
Mhm.
and to make sure that nobody's missing anything.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you were to master insurance comms, be a damn good photographer, have the training internal, be
Mhm.
able to communicate in layman's terms to homeowner,
Mhm.
and also understand all policies and endorsements, structurally speaking. You're not going to know everyone's policy
Understood.
before you get there, but
Exactly.
understanding how to read it.
Right.
Does that make you a SME or are we missing something?
I think that pretty much wraps it up, to be honest with you.
And insurance comms would be around adjuster meetings. It would be around how to communicate throughout the insurance process.
Do
It's
the
going to be all that
process.
kind of
Exactly.
stuff.
Correct.
So nothing else. If they just do those things, they can be a subject matter expert.
Well, as I've already demonstrated to you, nothing at this time, but we might come back to it in a little bit.
Okay.
Yep.
Smooth. Okay. Well, I'm really curious
Mhm.
and selfishly, just because I think most people's inspection photos are dumber than crap. I would love to know what you mean by damn good photographer for insurance documentation.
Okay. So actually, we could kind of actually tie this into contractors that only do retail.
Okay.
So contractors
So
that
you want to
only
look at that first? Like,
no, it'll kind of lead in.
Okay.
I think would so a contractor that does retail, they really don't need that many photos because they're collecting a check. They're not concerned about taking a photo of damaged areas and so on and so forth.
yep.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So-
I like that.
I'm actually working with a contractor right now that specializes in retail.
Okay.
They're actually just now getting into the insurance world, and they're
Yeah.
a very big contractor.
Yeah.
They're actually going the exact opposite way they're going upstream right now.
Going
They've been
the
doing it for
opposite direction from
they
where
are,
most are.
yeah.
Okay.
And they're very large. We've had to really work with them on is how to take the photos, and because
Mhm.
they've never had to. So teaching them why, which photo, and why. And working with them. And if they just take a few more minutes, literally 10 more minutes on the job site, making sure the photos are there,
Mhm.
it increases their income actually, right? Because everybody gets paid a percentage of the
Yeah.
job, right?
Yeah.
So if we can increase that
Mhm.
by $4,200,
Yeah.
then that's more money in the salesperson's pocket, correct?
Right on.
And
Yeah.
it's literally just maybe 10 extra minutes.
Okay, 10 minutes, but a specific process to go through there.
Correct.
And make sure documentation happens. If you were to say current state, someone that only does retail,
Mhm.
what are they taking photos of and how does that, like, what is different in their photo taking process between the two?
I've actually seen some that never even take one photo. They
Okay.
literally they'll
So-
download a picture from Zillow.
Okay, so some are zero.
Correct.
But what else? What else?
Some might be that they might actually climb on the roof and take a picture of the shingles or something else of that.
But what are they taking pictures of potential damage? Or are they taking pictures of just, hey, here's the ridge, here's the.
So they should take pictures of damage. That way they can also justify why that person needs that new roof.
Okay, but we're talking about current state. Retail people,
Mhm.
like retail only companies, they're typically taking some zero photos,
Mhm.
right? Some are pulling, let's say, from drones, right?
Mhm.
That they're actually using for before and afters. But what else are they typically taking that does not set them up necessarily to rock on the insurance stuff?
Well, they need to take pictures of because how are they going to sell that to the customer? And
Okay.
why they need a new
So they're
roof.
is it gonna be more general damage?
It's going to be more general. It might be wear and tear that
Okay.
they might think is difficult to getting covered by, there was no storm. But it's that shingle's been on there for 32 years and it's a 20-year shingle.
Okay, so let's make would it be fair to call that general damage? To say like, hey, it's maybe some wear and tear, it's maybe some hail, it's maybe some wind, but like we're not differentiating. We're just saying
We're
like,
just
hey,
saying-
Remko, look right here, you have all of these things happening. Here's a photo of it.
Correct.
Like we need to replace this because of this.
Because of this, exactly.
Okay, not because this is hail, this is hail, this is hail, this is wind, and
Right.
this is a squirrel.
Correct.
Right? So they're not going that granular. They're
Correct.
just like, hey, it's just here and we need to sell on value on that.
Correct.
Okay. So that's happened. Now on the insurance side, the people
Mm-hmm.
that are doing it best, they're taking photos of how are they taking photos structurally? Not the areas of the roof, but just how are they taking photos that differentiate them from.
So in order to do it correctly, they're going to show a larger overview,
Okay.
and then they're going to keep focusing in or, pull it in tighter.
So they're going to show overviews and then
Mhm.
they're going to go down to specific damage.
Correct.
They're going to go push ends to specific. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What else are they going to do?
The overviews are also going to tell them how many pipe jacks or how many skylights or,
So they're going to have justification for quantities of components
absolutely.
that you can't necessarily just see because the roof exists.
Exactly.
You have to see them.
Yes.
Okay, so they're going to get they're going to get these are going to be establishing shots
Mhm.
for component numbers to
Mhm.
justify, yeah?
Correct.
And we're really just talking about quantities. Hey, we got this many downs, we need You need establishing shots to do that.
Yeah. Do you want to get granular on photos?
Sure. I would love to get granular on how to take photos. Just more specifically, just how we're taking photos. Obviously, retail, already we see that they're taking different
Correct.
way. They're
Mhm.
photographing differently. So we've got overviews and we got punch-ins, or we got
Correct.
push-ins.
Mhm.
What else do we have?
That's really it before we go granular.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just the overviews to establish,
Mhm.
and then you get tighter to the specific.
Correct.
And everywhere that you have specific, you want establishing in.
Correct. Now, and when I say overviews, it's not just of the damaged area. And this is where I was alluding to earlier. Something
So maybe the slope.
correct.
And then,
Front elevation, right elevation,
Yep.
rear elevation,
Yep.
left. I'm excited to go over that with you in just a little bit. But then, so if you do the same thing every time,
Mhm.
and yes, so we do the general, and then we start, if there is damage, then we're
Mhm.
focusing on the damage on that particular slope or elevation or something of that nature.
Beautiful. Okay. So on the second level, so you might
Mhm.
have like right facing level 1, right facing level 2. And so you're going to do an establishing shot of level 1,
Mhm.
and then we're going to come tighter in.
Correct.
And then we're going to do the same thing on 2 and then come tighter in
Correct.
as well. And so you're going to run that same process for every single place that you're trying to document.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Smooth. Now, that makes a ton of sense. So now, is it just everywhere that there's damage, or is it every bit of the roof we want to make sure we document so we have?
Every bit of the roof that we document, so we have that historical data, because we might need to because that's giving us the components. That's telling us what kind of valleys are being used, or what's
Telling us the other things that maybe aren't related immediately to damage,
Correct.
but they are related to the other things that then, you may get scope that says, hey, there's 2, and you're like, these photos clearly show there's
Exactly.
7.
Exactly.
What do you mean? Okay, so that kind of thing. So we go, for each of this, we go establishing, and this is on every slope.
Yes, and every
Okay.
elevation.
Okay, so we're gonna go every slope.
Mhm.
Very important. Every elevation.
hmm
Why? And don't say because that's the way to do it.
Because that's the way to do it. So again, if you do it every time the same way,
Mhm.
then you're never going to forget. But also on wind, let's just take wind. Hail's easy
Mhm.
to see, right? But as I work on the elevations, you could have wind blown debris that hit your siding and punctured like branches flying, right? If you don't take
Branches
the time
flying
to
off a tree that hit the front, but then like didn't hit backside and what have
100%.
you. Okay.
So, or you see the soffits have
Mhm.
been pulled away because of the wind.
Okay.
So if you don't actually walk the property and look at everything, then again, you're doing your homeowner and yourself a disservice.
Okay. Beautiful. So every slope, every elevation, and there's
Mhm.
2 to this, establish into the push in.
Correct.
So it's 2-part
Mhm.
for every and every.
Correct.
Comprehensively, no matter what roof it is, no matter where the roof is, no matter how big it is, you're doing that.
Correct.
Does this require you to always be on the roof, or are you going to have to take some from streets, take some from the yard?
You always need to be on the roof.
Okay. These always have to be on the roof.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could take the overview. Depends on the pitch.
Yeah.
If you got a 12-12, you can easily stand in the yard and you can
take
you
the
can see
first
it.
establishing.
Correct. On a 3-12 or 2-12, you're not going to be able to stand in the yard because it's not the.
Can you use a
steep enough.
drone?
You could actually.
Okay.
100%.
And get closer to it because it's a wide angle, but get closer to it
Correct.
and start the establishing there, because when you're on the roof, you don't have the ability to like pop you're not gonna like selfie it.
Exactly. But what I do
Uh-huh.
is, so I'll walk the ridge
Mhm.
and I'll take a picture from this end of the ridge. Then I walk to completely other end and take it from that angle.
So you have establishing basically by using a panorama kind of
Correct.
perspective. So
Correct.
you got this way and then you got this way. And
Mhm.
so even though you can't stand right on top of the gutters and take a photo like this,
Exactly.
you're getting the same establishing.
By going from the
Yep.
from exact opposite directions.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that.
Yep.
Now, what benefit is it for retail people taking photos? Let's say they're not even working the insurance process. What benefit is it to be this comprehensive? Is there one?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge. Now, they still need to have some because they do need to tell production on, we had 6 turtle vents or 6 skylights, and those skylights are discoed and we need a new
Mhm.
sealant or a new skylight because it's been discoed or something. So they do need to know component count,
Mhm.
if you will.
Yeah. But the comprehensive nature of
No.
this is needed for this.
Correct.
And so again, back to if you're going to become an insurance subject matter expert and you're going to work the insurance process to the best degree that you can, doing this the same way every single time on everything is the way to go. Even if you decide at the end of the day, they don't have damage or policy that you can work with, then you got to go retail.
Go retail, yes.
But having this, make sure that you don't ever have your pants around your ankles.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
What percentage of insurance contractors have their pants around their ankles that are not doing this?
Very high.
Okay.
Very high.
Okay. Above 50?
Oh, yeah.
Above 90?
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
But why? This is not new information, is it?
Humans are inherently lazy.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to call anybody out specifically, but it is. And in the back of their mind, you're like, okay, if I spend less time here, I've got another 2 houses I can knock, right? So they're thinking about, oh my goodness, this costs me money because I could be door knocking 3 other houses in the amount of time that I'm spending with them here. But if we slow down and think about the homeowner and doing it correctly, these are some of the important steps that you need to do.
Oh, but hold on, is this a little bit more that like maybe the people structure of your business is set up incorrectly to do this correct? And I'll give you an example. When I had Raymond in here, he's talking about someone's knocking, someone else is climbing. The person that's climbing is doing this.
Yes.
And doing this effectively, obviously, or they're not getting all those approvals.
Correct.
Right? In a time where you have, and you even like when Jay Bradley was here, he has setter closer. The person climbing is different than the person knocking.
Yes.
And so maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like both of them in the respective places that they've grown businesses, they've helped, they consulted, what have you, they seem to follow this.
They do. And I've listened to those master classes, of course. And I love that because then the person that's setting with the person is going to be the expert on the policies.
Okay.
The person climbing doesn't need to be.
Yeah. The person climbing needs to be the documentation subject matter expert.
Exactly.
And so potentially if someone's really good at being detail-oriented here and running process and damn near OCD, that can be a person here. And then this can be someone that, not here, but the person that's talking about policy can be someone that is better at communicating. Or is more comfortable with it or just has a knack for it.
Right.
And can, set them at ease and sit at the table and not be covered in chalk and dirt and all over the place, where this is like, you're going to get dirty. You're going to get up there and be getting dirty.
Yep.
Okay.
And you have to have no fear of heights, right?
Yeah.
That's a very real thing, right?
So why? Why do you have to have no fear of heights?
Have you climbed roofs?
Yeah. I mean, they get pretty steep.
They do.
Definitely.
And high.
Yeah. They get high, and you're not wearing a harness when you're jumping up there. Well, when you're doing an inspection, how are you going to wear a harness? It's a question I'm always very, very confused by.
Let's say I pray OSHA never shows up during my inspections.
Yeah, I think no one wants them to show up during anybody's inspections because truly, how you don't have to answer this, but I will just voice this out. How are you going to put a harness and be good to go on a house that you don't have the permission to be doing anything on that roof but inspecting it? How are you going to put yourself in a position where you can be safe that way?
They do have tools.
Yeah, tools that you see on job sites, sir? Every now and again?
Every now and again. We're talking goats or harnesses that, over the ridge. Yeah.
Interesting.
Pitch hoppers.
Yeah, I know one of our customers that he uses pitch hoppers all the time. That man, like one, another, he's using 2, he's moving them around. It's crazy. This process, is this difficult for roofing contractors to learn? Or is this, hey, it's literally just establishing tight.
That's it.
About how many photos does this end up in for a roofing contractor that does it well?
40 to 60, I would say. Easy 40 to 60.
Yeah.
If there's damage.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, assuming that that's the case.
Yep.
Yeah. 40 to 60 photos and takes what? Like 30, 45 minutes?
Shouldn't take that long.
Okay. Unless it's like a super steep. And you're,
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. In that case, like you're really like.
Yes. Or you've just working from the gutter, the eave.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. 40 to 60 should take less than an hour all in to get the documentation that you need. And if they do this sets them up better to succeed, even in the adjuster meeting. Right?
Yes.
And in communication with the homeowner, in communication with the insurance company, even if no one ever comes out.
Correct.
You have more to paint the picture and to create the narrative that actually best serves homeowner and allows anyone for the insurance, whether they're independent or not, to better understand what's going on.
Exactly.
Okay. Best intent is what this sounds like. Question for you, if retail thought that they'd ever do insurance, like potentially the contractor that you started working with not that long ago, if retail all this time had been doing this, Are they better set up for the next hailstorm that comes in?
Absolutely.
Why?
They've trained, and it's their standard operating procedure. This is what we're going to do. And that sales manager, he's like, okay, before we even allow you to input that claim, let me see that photo documentation, right? And so you didn't get it, get your ass back out there and take those photos.
Yeah.
So pushing back, but yes, on the next hailstorm or the next windstorm, they're going to be light years ahead if they know how to do it properly versus somebody else that just is doing retail.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. And perhaps, and correct me if I'm wrong, if they did this and they were just retail, then a storm rolls in, like set the training aside, that they know how to do it. But they also had, when they installed these, what it looked like, eh?
Yes.
They had photo evidence of what this looked like before this.
Correct.
And so perhaps the roofs that they've already done, they're going to be able to get a re-roof and maybe be able to run an insurance a second time because they had the documentation ahead of time.
Absolutely. And you and I also know another contractor as well that they focus just on retail. And there was a hailstorm that came through. Yeah. And now they're scrambling to try to learn how to properly work those claims with the insurance company.
Try to make the money that is at the fingertips and help the homeowners that they can.
Correct.
That is going to need to be this way because not everyone just has all the cash in the world.
Right. They
have a better likelihood of achievement with the insurance side. But if they don't know how to do this at all, now you're sprinting out there to try to help them. And it's like, okay, we're behind the eight ball because we never did this in the first place.
And they reached out to me right away and asked for a Zoom call with all their salespeople so I could kind of talk them through what are we looking for. So it was like scrambling at last minute. But if we'd have done that previously and documented that way, then it would have been a more natural transition.
Heck yeah. Anything else we're missing about photographing?
Nope.
You as an adjuster or a roofing contractor, we can go kind of either direction of this. If you want to, we haven't done tear off yet. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
How are you going to document, or how would you recommend somebody documents decking discrepancies from what you were guessing ahead of tear off?
Get your ass in the attic.
Okay. Get in the attic.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Get in the attic ahead of time. Got it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Run the tape on the off center on the rafter.
Okay.
Okay.
Off center on rafter. For anyone that has never done that, doesn't know what the hell that means. Can you explain?
Yeah. So you've got the rafters here. You're going to run your tape measure from the center of one to the center of the other. And those inches there, then your local code is going to determine what the thickness of the sheathing or the decking should be.
Okay. So get in the attic, run off center of the rafter. That is something that's found. Is that county? Is that city? Is that state? Both?
Both. It could be both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could be any combination?
I don't want to say one specific because it literally
could be multiple governments.
Correct.
So this could be multi-gov, right, on code. All right. So let's say we do that and we're good on there. We go to do tear off.
But then you're also, in the easiest way, you also have to measure the thickness of that, right? So run a tape on that. Easiest way to do is on the eave if you can get there. And you run, so first you've got the measurement on the inside, on the center, and then you're going to run it on the eave to see the thickness of the decking there.
Okay. Now, weird thing that goes on. You have, let's say, slats or something, and you have
space
OSB
decking
or something else.
Yep.
And then also you get in there and let's say when you do tear off, you then also have 3 layers of shingles. What now? So we have 2 layers of decking, which is, all this is not that uncommon, eh?
It is not.
Okay.
Especially on older homes where they did use the space decking, correct?
Yeah. So let's say you have 2 layers of decking. You get to tear off. You get 2 layers of decking. You got 3 layers of shingles. What the heck do you do now?
You better document the heck out of that, of course.
Okay,
you should have been able to pick it up before production.
Should have been able to pick this up or both? One or both?
You actually should have been able to pick up both.
But how? Are you going to see it inside the attic?
So yes, if you go in the attic, you're going to see the space decking. And if okay,
so this should have been identified in attic. Okay, I'll give you that. Let's say the 2 layers. What if you didn't know that? Let me ask this a different way. Is there a time where you wouldn't know that in the attic if you got up in there?
Depends on how tight the space decking is, but a lot of times the space decking has knots. It's pine or something of that nature. So there's not, and especially the older homes, there'll actually be chunks missing this big, and that's why you need the other layer of sheathing or decking on top of that, and they'll resheet, if you will. So you
But
can
they'll just
see
do it right
through
on
that
top.
knot. You'll see through that knot. You'll see plywood. You'll see the sheeting.
Okay. You should be able to see that. If you can't,
Then-
then you didn't go in the attic.
And a lot of times you can't go in the attic.
Okay. Why?
And a lot of times people don't want you in the attic.
Yeah.
A lot of times you got the little thing that pulls down
Yeah.
and you see the ladder drop. A lot of times it's way too crowded in there. A lot of times, I mean, there's
Too
a
much
lot
nonsense,
of,
yeah.
there's
Okay.
there's a lot of different reasons why you can't access the attic.
Cool. So got 2 layers of decking.
Mhm.
Let's say that's the case. Documentation of photos on that decking, whether it's before, during the inspection in the attic, or it's you're doing tear off and you're like, holy crap. Where there's like, what if it's 2 layers of plywood that you can't see?
I've never seen that.
Never.
So I'm not saying
Never.
I haven't come across that, but yeah, I guess that would if it wasn't up to code before and they needed a little bit thicker on it. A lot of times those just I don't know why I don't know why the roofing company wouldn't have just detached that, just put new, but nothing
Whatever.
surprises me anymore.
So when you find that though, in general,
Mhm.
when you get in that, let's say you're doing tear off, how do you document that?
Photos.
Yeah. Do you get beside it? Do you get on top? How what's the most appropriate way to document that to prove that that's not just something you're saying like, oh, it took extra time. We need more material, blah, blah, blah.
A good way is paint
Okay.
or a different color on and you can shoot the difference on that. So the
Okay.
one layer is you use a purple and the other, do you see what I'm saying? And it's easy to document that way.
Okay. And you can paint on top. There's not a problem.
Yep.
You just like
Yep.
hit it with spray paint.
Correct.
Okay. So
I actually learned that from one of your contractors, and it's brilliant what they do.
use paint. We're not talking about highlighting on top of a photo.
Correct.
We're talking
No,
about
no, no.
legitimate paint.
Exactly.
Use paint
Yep.
on different layers.
Yep. And most of the time on the shingles, it's very easy because they're never the same color.
Mhm.
So as you start tearing, you'll see green and then brown and then whatever. So on the shingles, it's very.
Is that when people have like they cut out a square, they like cut a little circle out of something, you can see the different layers of everything?
You could do that, but you should have been able to do that from the eave, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you should have been able to see it. You shouldn't need to do that.
100%. Right.
Sweet. And that's still going to be, you're not going to do any kind of painting or any highlighting on top of the photo, just to be able to document it. Do you get up kind of next to it to look there, or do you go down?
So what I'll do is as I'm going up the ladder.
Yep.
So again,
you're
I'm
looking.
looking. I literally will peel up as much as I can of that shingle, and then take the photo, and that's going to easily show one
How
layer,
many
2
layers
layers, a starter. Is it just correct?
Beautiful. Okay. And so when that happens, that means you're still doing establishing down to close.
Exactly.
And so you're backing up as far as you can, or maybe you're getting on one side and then you're taking photos and then you're like rotating and showing that. Or
I don't know if you want to get into my photo document checklist, but in my
that's amazing.
process.
Yeah. I
So-
looked at it. It's dope.
Okay.
You want to do it?
Sure.
Cool.
Let's do it.
All right. Photo document checklist. All right. So is this something that you give out to people?
I
that
do.
People can find it, or
I'll give you guys the link. We'll put it on here if
Okay.
you don't mind, and
Yeah,
they can
yeah.
download it.
absolutely.
Sure. And
Just
it's
like a PDF or something?
yeah, it is.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay. So what does this look like?
So when I first walk up to a home, and I'll just kind of talk through it because I actually have to visualize it, and I hope you don't mind.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
visualize it, and you can write
Well,
what
just
you
don't
need
stop. Don't stop talking if I start writing. But
to
you
do.
got
Perfect. Okay, so my first is going to be overview on front elevation, and then it's also going to be the house number, so to prove the loss address.
it. Those are both in number one.
No, these are
One and
one
two?
and then 2. Then it's going to be over.
Now, number two, does that mean mailbox? Does that mean marker on the ground?
It doesn't matter. It could be the numbers on. It's something documenting that house is 3353.
And let's say you're the mailbox for an example. The house is in the back. You want mailbox and house?
No, I'm taking this is picture 1,
Yep.
and then the picture 2 is the
So-
loss address.
Just a loss address. So
Correct.
just wherever it is. And you can be tight in on that.
Correct.
Okay.
100%.
Loss address documentation,
Yes.
essentially. Okay.
Yep.
Loss address. Amazing. Okay.
And these are all overview. I should have said that first. So then I'm very specific. It's front right. I'm doing an overview,
front right.
overview rear, overview left.
Okay.
Then I'm taking a measurement of tape on the siding. Is it vinyl? Is it metal? And then is it 8-inch, 10-inch, whatever?
On siding, even if they're not trying to talk about anything on siding. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Yep.
100%.
Yes,
100% of the time.
absolutely.
You're a wild man. All right. Measurement and tape of siding, and then detailing the type, like
Yes.
the material type.
Yep.
All within one.
Correct. So I use an annotation, of course.
Yeah.
But if it is, sometimes it's steel. We still have some old houses.
Yeah.
So I always carry a magnet with me. And I'll put
So
the
just-
magnet on there to prove that it's steel because that's a lot a lot higher cost than aluminum or vinyl.
And
of
so
course.
if you can put a magnet on it, you'll then take a photo,
Correct.
an overview photo with it, or a push in.
Just a push in.
Okay, push in of just the magnet, like
Yep.
boom, this sticks to this.
Yep.
Like this is
'Cause
obviously
my overview is the tape on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so we got that. So it's like kind of like 6A is going to be magnet if
If it is steel.
6A magnet. And this is a push in. This is not an overview. Yeah.
Correct.
And for everyone's clarity, 1 through 6A really is overviews.
Yes.
And then 6B is magnet. That's a push in. That's the only push in so far.
Mhm.
Okay, now we got 7.
Yep. So 7, I'm going to go to the downspout and I'm going to measure the width of the downspout. That's a push in.
All right. What's next?
Then I'm starting to work my way up the ladder. I'm measuring. I'm hanging the tape and I'm looking at the overhang.
For anyone that doesn't know what overhang means, what do you mean by that?
That's your soffit. That's how far it's extending from the elevation.
Yep. So you're measuring it this way.
Correct. So I'm hanging. So you can't see the whole tape.
Yep.
But I'm just taking a picture of. I finally see the number 11. And we know it's
Yeah. But you're doing that and you're kind of taking top down.
Correct.
Rolling up the ladder, looking like this.
Yep.
Okay. Beautiful. Amazing.
with the gutter.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's next.
Just straight gutter?
Mhm.
Is that
The width of the gutter, with a tape. Also, this one is going to show if there's any kind of gutter guards.
This will.
Yeah.
Because you're going with the tape on top. It's
Correct.
top down shot.
Correct.
And so you'll see if there's a screen or anything else.
Or higher end gutter guard that's metal.
Yeah.
Because all of those need to be detached and reset if you do the roof.
Awesome. Okay. What else?
Then I'm looking at how the gutter's attached to the home. Is it through the drip?
So gutter fasteners.
Correct.
Gutter fastenings.
Correct.
Okay. That's
Is
a
it-
push in
It is.
on just a single one or all of them?
No, just a single.
Okay.
And is it through the drip or the gutter apron?
Okay.
Because
Gutter-
then I have to detach and reset the gutter. And in Ohio right now, that runs almost $7 a linear foot to DNR the gutters.
Should that be something that's in
Push in.
110? Yeah. No, I know. But should that be something that's 10 or like the detach and reset?
No, because this determines if it's going to be detach and reset is
Okay.
how it's attached
Yeah.
to the, right.
Okay. And it's just an Ohio thing or is it it's
Oh, no,
probably
no.
a bunch of other places?
No,
Everywhere?
everywhere.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So that's 10.
I would
We'll
say
say
in
copper.
Ohio, the dollar amount per
The dollar
linear
amount, yeah,
foot to DNR
Yeah.
is right at $7.
Beautiful. Okay. I like it.
Okay, so now I'm at the gutter, right?
Yep.
So you can kind of picture that. I've
Mhm.
taken the overview. I've got the width. I've got
Uh-huh.
it how's it attached. Now what I'm doing, I'm looking at how many layers.
Okay. You're flipping the thumb up.
Correct. I'm
And
trying
looking
to
underneath. You're like
correct.
peeling, not peeling it back, but like just
Correct.
flipping edge.
just enough so I can see if there's more than one layer, if there's two or more. Can I see if there's starter? Is there felt?
For layer
Mhm.
quantity.
Yep. And then this is also telling me if there's drip, because sometimes there's no drip or gutter apron.
Okay. And that's going to be a push in, yeah?
Correct.
Beautiful. Okay. What's 12?
Next, I'm going to put my pitch gauge up there
Mhm.
and take a picture of that because we all know that
That's push in, yeah?
it's push in. Yeah, because of course, the steeper the roof, the more they pay for it.
Yeah.
Steep
And
charge.
so you need an establishing shot essentially.
Correct.
That's push
To
in.
prove it. Here's
Yeah.
the thing. Yes, it's push in, but you also want to be far enough back to prove that you're flat against the shingle. Why is that? Some roofers have been, they'll actually tilt it to show a higher.
Oh my.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
that's
it
crazy.
actually has to be far enough back where you can see how it's sitting on the shingle, but close enough where you can read the gauge.
Yeah, it's actually funny. There's a measurement provider with that name. So I like blanked for 2 seconds. I'm like, wait a second,
Mhm.
what? Beautiful. Okay. What's 13?
Now, if I'm a contractor,
Okay.
as an adjuster, I'm not allowed to do this with a lot of my carriers.
Yep.
Run a shingle gauge on it.
Okay. Okay. But as a contractor, you would.
I
You're doing it.
100% would.
Okay.
So
What does that mean? Run shingle gauge?
what you're going to do is you could flip it either way, and it determines if it's a composite, a 3-tab or a laminate. But you'll stick the shingle in. Don't force it.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
Don't force. Yeah.
That's the reason adjusters aren't allowed to use it anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
if you just set it until it's just tight, but that shows you, is it a 20-year, 30-year, 50-year shingle maybe?
Okay.
And that, because of course it's higher value.
And that's going to be a push in because you're just showing the tool.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. We're 13 in. What else you got?
Okay. Now we're going to walk the roof.
How many steps is this again?
You get through this in less than 20 minutes if you do it right.
No. I know. This is comprehensive, man. I think it's going to blow some people's minds.
Okay.
Okay. 14.
14. So we're walking the roof. And it's very important. Like I stated before, I'm going to climb to either end of the ridge
Yeah.
and shoot from both.
Because you need establishing shots and you
Correct.
also need one side the other so that they can not be stitched, but be set side by side, and you
Correct.
can tell like, hey, this is the whole thing.
Yep. And
we're not
as
hiding anything, we're not.
correct. And as I'm walking the ridge, if there's a softener, any other, and
Mhm.
I'm thinking of an overview of that as well.
Okay, so it's establishing on every slope.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so you'll work it just one slope at a time. You go through all of this and then come back to this position?
No,
Or
no,
you
no.
do
So
it-
I do all my overview first.
So you'll do all of the slope establishing.
Correct.
Okay. So it's like every slope establishing.
Yes.
Okay. Which is more of an overview video or a photo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
OV. Okay. And now
I'm going to look for damage.
it's going to be
and
damage.
these are many different photos on number 14, of course.
Yep. And well, so and if we were to be sticklers here in a second, about how many photos is it?
It depends on how many slopes there are, right?
Yeah, per slope.
It literally should only be one overview, just one on each slope.
But from both sides.
That's
So
only the ridge,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So then, and that should actually, depending on how you're doing it, it should be good enough where you can, for example, if it's a ranch just front and rear slope, those ridge shots should be enough to cover that, the front and rear.
Okay, so it should be one per slope, but on the ridge you're getting both sides.
Correct.
Okay, dope. Okay, 15.
Now, if you remember on my elevations, I went front, right, rear, left.
Yeah, and you closed your eyes too. You
Yeah, because I'm
bang,
exactly.
bang,
I'm like boom, boom, boom. Same thing on a roof.
Right, rear, left.
Same thing on a roof. I'm going to go front, right, rear, left if there is those slopes.
Front, right. Is right or rear R?
So I do right RI.
So front, rear, right.
No, front, right,
Front, right.
rear, left.
So you do those.
We're going to get you on the roof here next
Hey,
week.
man, watch out. So front, right, rear, and left, the same way that you did it in the beginning.
Correct.
But now that we're on the roof, we're going to do the same thing.
Correct.
Okay.
Now I'm going to go very specific push in for damage.
Okay. These are overview.
The first one's going to be overview again.
So 15 is going to be overview on each of these.
15 is going to be front overview.
Yep.
Okay. Then I'm going to take a picture of any component on that front.
Mhm.
Normally they're under rear to hide it from the street, of course. But if there is a component, let's say skylight or something of that nature, or a valley, how's that valley done? I'm going to take my overview, then I'm going to take my components, and then I'm going to take my damage shot push in.
Okay. So it's going to be overview.
Yep.
Components.
Mm-hmm.
Damage. Push ins plural maybe.
Oh yeah, all these are going to be push in, except for the overview, of course.
But push ins plural on
Yes.
each of these.
Yes.
Yep. Amazing. So we're going to go, obviously front, right, rear, left. Beautiful. Okay.
Yep. And damage is, you don't need to have everything, for
Take a
example.
photo like this, like this, like this.
Yeah.
You don't need that.
No. So, for example, if it's hail, we're going to mark off the square 10 by 10, and then we're going to mark the hail hits. So take a picture of your overview of your square, your mark, and then you go into pushing on the hail damage.
Okay. So your overview is back far enough where you can see where the chalk is.
Correct.
And then you're going to go like outside of that and then in.
Correct.
And it's going to be for every hit?
Correct.
For every place that you're
No,
marking?
I would, even on the adjuster, I'll only take pictures of maybe 3 hits per square.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you need an establishing shot to show the square.
Correct.
And to show from a zoomed out position all of the hits and then kind of push from there.
Correct. And now I'm gonna make notations or annotations on the roof.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be FS is what I use. Everybody uses something different. That's front slope.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'm gonna have 9H. It's gonna be 9 hail.
Okay.
Or 21W. That means 21 were wind damaged.
Okay. And that's like 21 spots where you're
Correct.
Like, that's wind.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Or I'll also put in my components just so it's fail safe for myself. So 3 skylights, and it's all written under the FS, which is a front slope. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing for right, rear, and then left.
Damn, that's comprehensive. I like it.
Yep.
This makes sense to me from an outsider's perspective, why you can be in a position where you don't have contractors or homeowners screaming at you. You also are working a process where you're not missing anything. And if you do, well, you damn near worked your whole process. And so if you miss something.
Oh, we're far from done.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got?
We go back to the elevations.
Okay.
So every estimate, to write an estimate properly, that's why it's so important is this process, right, rear, left, and front, right, rear, left. And then also in the estimate, you always want to start, like if there's damage on the siding, your estimate should be written from top down. So if you have roof damage, and then you start working your way down, then gutters, and then siding, and then screen.
Let's go from sky to
ground. Okay. Exactly. And then you go interior. if
Okay.
there is,
Yeah.
right? So then I'm going to go back to my front
For
elevation.
16.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gonna go back to front.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we got there?
I've already taken an overview because that was listed on, on number 1. So I'm going to look for damage.
Okay.
If I do find damage, then I'm going to do just one more overview real quick and then go pushing for the damage.
And you're gonna do another overview for establishing
Correct.
before you push the damage
Exactly.
every single time
Every
that
time.
you're documenting damage. So
Every
you're
time.
not using a previous photo for that.
What if that photo didn't turn out?
You want to you want redundancies.
Yep.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that even if you took that, maybe that's great,
Mhm.
but maybe every now and again it's not. And if you don't have that establishing for this, well, now they're like, what the?
Or I was moving too much, so it blurred a little bit. How do
Okay.
I know that? It's happened, of course. So yes.
Okay. So then we're gonna go front elevation, and we're gonna go again.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go overview and then damage push-ins
Correct.
again.
If there is damage, yes.
Yeah,
and then we're going to go do the same thing right, rear, left.
Beautiful. Yeah, this is comprehensive. I like this.
Then if there's interior, we're going to do interior. And if not, then we're also going to go outside to make sure there's not another structure or other.
So 17 would be interior if there. Yeah.
If they're correct.
Okay. 17, interior, right? And then 18 would be other structures.
Correct. So now we're done with dwelling. We've done the roof, outside elevations, and interior. Now we're moving outside of that. So it's going to be other structures.
And that's going to be same process, front to back
Exactly.
for every structure.
Very
So detached garage, shed, but obviously on a shed, it's going to be way more simple, and there's not as many sides, and it's a
Sure.
smaller structure. You can probably walk around it and take
100%.
photos, like
Exactly.
pretty easy. Get on a little step ladder,
Yep.
not have to put a massive
Right.
ladder there.
Also, in other structures, going to be fencing.
Okay, so other structures are going to be. It's going to be, we went dwelling, then it's going to be like other
Detached garage,
it's gonna be-
detached shed.
buildings, and then also fencing, and what else?
Can I tell you, here's a beautiful thing about fencing. If the fencing is not attached, and here's why it's very important. If the fencing is attached to the dwelling, take a picture of it and how it's attached.
Okay,
Okay? Because then it's covered under Schedule A, which is dwelling.
got it.
If
Okay.
it's not attached, then it's other structures, which normally comes into 10% of the home value. So if the home is valued at 300 and that's the insurance, then you have maybe 30,000 in other structures. Well, so it's a lot less, but your detached garage, detached shed are destroyed. There's no more money left for the privacy fence
Okay,
because it's other structure. It's
let's say there's a 4x4
Mhm.
that technically the wall,
Mhm.
4x4,
Mhm.
privacy fence is here. It connects on one side of the house, the other side doesn't touch.
take a
It's like
picture of
gap.
how it connected.
On the connected side. Okay. Because that's technically dwelling if it's connected. If it's
100%.
If it's affixed to it.
Here's a perfect example.
Okay.
I love stories, right? And this happened to me 6 weeks ago. Huge tree fell down on the garage. It was a detached garage.
So standalone, meaning
Standalone, exactly.
There's no interior door between the two.
Correct.
It's a little bit further away.
2-car garage. So
Okay.
it's pretty big, right? I mean, this tree was, I think we measured it at 64 inches. Crushed the garage.
Yeah.
Well, he only had, I think, 21,000 on other structures,
Mhm.
and it wasn't going to pay for the garage.
Yeah.
Here's a perfect example of somebody looking out for best interest on that. So we started
For the homeowner.
So we started looking, right?
Mhm.
There's a 4x4 post attached to the garage.
Mhm.
There was a post going across,
Mhm.
and it was kind of holding up the porch roof. And then it was a 4x4 to the house. We were able to tie that in so the garage was under dwelling coverage
Because
versus
it's
other structure because of just
touching.
that. Yes.
Wow.
So now
So it
he
doesn't
actually
need to be load bearing touching. It just needs to be affixed.
correct. So
Hmm.
and the garage itself was 64,000 to replace.
Woof.
So he actually got the replacement value of the 64 versus the max. I think it was 21 or 22. It was 6-8 weeks ago. I
It
don't
would have
remember
been out of pocket like
40
40
grand.
something.
Yep.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yep.
Beautiful. Okay.
So-
I like that.
Anyway, so then yes, then you're going to go other structures, buildings, fencing, etc.
Okay.
And
So
then
that's the photo checklist.
and then personal property.
Personal property. But that's another endorsement on the policy, yeah? Or
No, it should always have some coverage in there for personal property.
minimum
Yes.
coverage on the personal property,
Yep.
but not necessarily everything. Not,
Right.
not all your jewelry and everything else.
Correct. Those are separate, right? But the kids' $1,700 play set, wood
Yeah.
play set, right? That would be under personal.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Smooth. Dude, this is really comprehensive. I think this is actually even helpful for retail in general for people to inspect properly.
Mhm.
Do you ever see a place when you have this much documentation and you can prove damage that this is that this is ever not going to serve a contractor or a homeowner?
Not really, because whoever's trying to argue doesn't have a leg to stand on. And just like when we talked earlier, much earlier in our conversation, we talked about the overhang and the distance, right? Does that enable me to have double layer on the ice and the water, or single, to make sure we have that 24-inch on the inside? Technically, we also have the width of the wall that we have to factor in. So there's some gray areas there, but whoever's arguing against this really doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Especially if you do it this comprehensive.
Correct.
Beautiful. Cool. I'm good on that. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sweet.